Okay, we are live, everybody. Today is Monday, August 2nd. And a big thank you to Ben Napple from Treasure Warriors for joining us tonight.
Surprise!
For a secret special Reddit taxes, legalities, and lies show. K-Pro's got a PowerPoint that'll explain everything. But I do want to remind everybody to stick around until the end because we have a brand new treasure hunt we're going to talk about for $10,000, and we're doing a giveaway at the end of the show. Is that right, K-Pro?
Yes, on their behalf, thank you to Hillary and Sean. They wanted to roll it out here. So we have a little bit of trivia at the end of the night, but you're going to be exhausted like we are from all of this research we've been doing. We're bringing it to you tonight. And it's not just from crazy K-Pro with Mike going, what? He's going to go, what? To both Ben and I.
Ben Napple said, what? All right.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so
wait,
before we get started, Ben, introduce yourself and your channel. We'll introduce why you're here. That's actually the first slide. I've added a few slides since we've talked. So why don't you introduce who you are, where they can find you, and of course, your better half.
So my better half, Ashley, and I, we put together a channel, Treasure Warriors. The URL is really easy. It's just youtube.com/Treasure Warriors, and that's how you can get to our page. I've been searching since COVID, kind of early 2020, late 2019, couple boots on the ground, and just trying to get the truth, working in the shadows.
So Ben gets a little wild and crazy sometimes. So I think the bet tonight is if he curses at any point, every time he has to do a load of laundry, which unfortunately, he's not like Mike. I don't think he does laundry normally. So this is an actual penalty, right? Is that the bet?
I feel bad for whatever laundry has to get made.
There's going to be a lot of pink socks soon.
Don't put it in the dishwasher. Okay, sorry.
Here we go. Okay, so I do actually have an intro slide that kind of goes into everything, what we're going to talk about tonight. The PowerPoint is long. Grab your popcorn, grab your soda, your drink of choice. Mine is water for right now. So Mike, put it on. Super chat is on and thumbs up. Tonight should be a fun night.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. There is a couple conspiracy theory bridges we may be going over. But first, we'll do the factual stuff. So here we go. And thumbs up for K-Pro's PowerPoint and presentation to make it all clear and concise for those of you who don't want to go through the database. Take it away, K-Pro.
Well, and okay, so we're going to talk about Reddit. A lot of it that we're going to focus on is going to be the taxes and legalities. There's been a few little, I won't say lies per se, because you never know someone's intent, but I will say statements that seem to oppose the truth. So let's dive in because I have an agenda PowerPoint so you guys can see kind of how we're set up tonight. So next slide. Okay, so step one is going to be a partnership. We're going to explain, some of you, even though we were on Indy's channel and yesterday talked about on Ben's channel, I know that the room will probably get over 300 tonight. You're probably going, why is Ben here? And we're going to explain that. There has been a partnership for a little bit, and there's a reason for it because you know how silly I've been with sources and information. Ben is, well, we'll explain that in a second. Then step two, we're going to go over specific post by the Condor, only the facts. I do have some summary thoughts so you can kind of soundbite it, but you're going to see Mike reading a lot tonight. He's going to read the actual posts. Ben and I are going to weigh in with commentary, banter, and fun. And then we're going to go into, okay, we have all these posts. What do they mean? We're going to overlay the deaths that were happening, the FOIA that happened, the searchers that were arrested, Dale's emails of calling off the hunt. Some things were happening within a day of one another. Some scrapbooks that the Condor referenced. I have some other scrapbooks I want to go over. And then that's all factual. And we're actually going to show you, I think, a pretty impactful, this is the level of source data we're getting. We're going to show you a picture. We're excited about it. It is amazing to me, and everything that we've seen. It just kind of tells you the level that we're at. And then we're going to go into, this is at the very end is when we're going to go into, okay, with this new information, here's some crazy theories, but it's nothing more than brainstorming. We're not saying we know anything for a fact at that point. But step 1, 2, and 3 is all factual stuff. And then we're going to get into some crazy thoughts.
So I got to get a soundboard clip of every time we say Condor, it just goes, caw-caw. We got to do a bird noise of some kind. Maybe a screaming eagle. All right.
Okay. So, so partnership. Why is Ben here? So if you guys remember, you probably don't. There was this solve called the GPS solve, and it had 5 exclamation points. And 4 would have been okay, but 5 really upset you guys. And I'll say we had the fairy tale source. We've had a few sources since then. And I'm going to give credit to Indy. This was a few months back. She said, you need to have someone that you can bounce your sources off of, your ideas off of. You kind of work in a vacuum. You put it out there, and sometimes maybe you haven't verified as much, and maybe just get a different set of eyes. I tried that with Mike. Mike's really into the Beacon Star, and I kind of glaze over. Not that I don't love you, Randy, but just I can only talk so much about the codes and the big block and the triangle and all that.
Hashtag Randy's got the coin. Go ahead.
But Mike's like that with me. He can only have so much rabbit hole talk with Forrest Fenn. So Ben and I, God, months ago, we started sharing some stuff, and it just kind of built into a partnership. And he does not know particular names. If you are a source in the room that I have said, oh, I will not say a name, Ben doesn't know that. But he knows enough that you've let me share. And he's let me, and we just kind of formed a partnership to say, there's times that I go down a rabbit hole and then he'll go, wait, let's look back at this data. That doesn't make sense or something. So Ben, you tell your side of how you got into this crazy partnership, if that's what we're calling it.
And real quick, let me just say we got a super chat from 3D Bronze.
Nice.
Oh, what happened? Oh, hang on.
Soundboard.
How did that do that?
Oh, no.
Sorry, that got screwed up. So thank you, 3D Bronze, for the super chat. He says, agenda, boring, joking, tell me why, Jack. 3dbronze.com. He does his own treasure hunts. All right, take it away, Ben.
Well, as a lot of people I'm sure know, I wasn't I came into hintofriches.com under Searcher 2342, and I had an agenda at that point when I did that. I started off as a Reddit-only searcher. Reddit was kind of where I lived on just because of television shows that were kind of mystery solving, and there was a lot of interaction. And so I found there are communities on Reddit where there's good ways to explain thoughts in an organized way, and that's kind of what Reddit is. And so being on Reddit, I had interacted with a few people on Reddit prior to the find and kept track. I was all in right when I started. So I was keeping track of everybody I interacted with, this whole thing. And there were a few names on my list of who I thought maybe got the chest based upon their history on Reddit and kind of their disappearance from. And we've all seen the Condor's database now. The Condor was on the top of my list. I started to investigate a little bit. I had a couple of other people in Reddit start reaching out to me quietly. There's a chat room in Reddit you can be in, but then there's also DMs. And so through those DMs, these conversations started to happen in the shadows, if you will. And it once it honed in on a name, and then I had been watching K-Pro's, your show, you and Mike. I've been watching you guys do your shows. I've watched everybody, really. I mean, that's kind of how I did this. And I started to see different things from different PowerPoints or shows that were matching what I was getting information-wise, and some things that weren't. And so finally, I just decided, screw it. I'm going to go to K-Pro here and at least just start a line of communication. And that's how we went. You have been burned in the past by sources. I'm new to this thing, so I don't know who's to be trusted, who isn't. It's a treasure hunt. I assume everybody isn't to be trusted. And it got me to thinking, okay, I think if we finally join forces here, we might be able to solve some things. And that's why I decided to go on YouTube. And on Candy's show, when we were first going camping, it feels like a year ago, but like a month ago, I was just trying to say, hey guys, if we work together, we can figure this thing out. I had information that I know that this community didn't, and you and I had been working, but we've had to do this quietly now, and you and I had to earn each other's trust before we could get into stuff. You never broke, like you said, your sources or anything I didn't need to know your sources, and I think that helped you a little bit. I didn't need to know those details. What I needed to know was stuff that I could corroborate or not corroborate with my details. And then once we got that level, it was game on. And then part of this whole work that we've done is then now we're working together with other sources. And once we were able to do that and show both sides, I not to say anything bad or negative against you and Mike, But when you're in the community for as long as you've been as leaders, even if people have information and they're genuine people, maybe they're just afraid to go there, because not how you're going to deal with it, but how the chat will deal with it or how other people will deal with it. And they just don't want to deal with it. Now that other types of people have joined forces, I think it's less intimidating. I think they've seen how you guys have acted in the last couple of months as leaders of the community. Other folks have come and gone. You guys have stayed. And hopefully, I think that, I mean, it means something to me. And that's why I decided it was time to start sharing with you. Sorry to long rant there, but
I did the same thing. Go ahead. We got a super chat. Go ahead,
We
Mike.
got a super chat. All right, I did it right that time. Packer Jack with the super chat. He says, "This Ben is not smoking and swearing. The real conspiracy is what have you and Ashley done with the real Ben, and who is this gentleman imposter?" Thank you for that super chat. Super chat, Packer Jack. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and I will say I'm kind of embarrassed to say this just because Reddit had 20,000 users. I think 3 years ago, I didn't even know, 4 years ago, I didn't even know what Reddit was. And so when I heard there was a Reddit group, I just found out there was a chat room in the last 6 months. So I didn't know any of that. And so that's why it's been really good for me, because I'll say, oh, you can like look at delete it. It was really funny because Ben was like, yeah, you take the thing and then you take remove the edit and you put it in and did it. And I'm like, yeah, no, you lost me at open Reddit. I can open Reddit. I know you think it's
so much more complicated than it really is.
Okay, so that is
Hatchet Jack says never been on Reddit. Check it out, Hatchet Jack. It's a pretty cool place to be.
I will say
everything else for the information. You don't have to type. Right. You don't have to interact on it. Just go there and read. That's what I mean. That's how I handled this for the first year I was in the chase. I was just going in and reading you guys. You guys put a lot of information out there. I was like, hey, thanks, everybody. It's easy to catch up.
Yeah. And we're now allowed. I actually posted something on Reddit and it got through. So our Reddit friends, I will say, if you were going to characterize a network of people, they're mostly the millennials, super like smart techie people. It's just interesting. Okay. So that is how we came to be. So this is not just, we brought Ben on to be, an outside observer and tell us what you think of the PowerPoint. He has seen most of the back data. I've seen most of his back data sources. Some of them are his, some of them are mine. This has really been a true partnership, which has been really a new experience for me with having to build that trust and all that. And there's been a few times where like either of us will be like, okay, 100%, this can't go, kind of thing as we build this up. And so we've done that even recently, like, okay, so let's now jump into the Reddit database, which Mike is going to be reading right after this super chat. Go ahead, Mike.
After this super chat.
If I were Chinese, I'd say, oh dear.
All right. Thank you for the super chat. Golden Frog says, mark my words, Homa Brown is on the side of National Park Mountain. Okay. Your opinion's as valid as everybody else's. I don't know where National Park Mountain is, but thank you for the super chat.
Oh, we got another one.
National Park.
Let's get them out there.
In the National Park?
No, I have a feeling that's the name of a park.
Sippy cup of beer.
Does it have, I was going to say, does it have apple juice in it? Okay, go ahead, Mike. Last super chat before we dive in.
Stuck in Chaselandia. Appreciate the work you all put in. Thank you. Hey, and we appreciate you support with the super chat. So thank you. And thank you to Ben for being on as well. All right, let's get into the PowerPoint. We've got like 16 hours of this PowerPoint. All right, here we go.
It's going to be a longer show, if I were to guess. Okay, so we did that. So let's jump into step 2, which no kids are supposed to be bothering Mike during the show. Step 2 is the Reddit posts. Okay, we went over this. Ben's here. We know who, what, why.
A partnership. Okay, sorry. Step 2. The Reddit database review. Okay.
So here's what I really did, and I've talked to both of these guys about it, but built it up. Basically, I went through, and yes, it did take me about 6 or 7 hours, built up this entire database that others have looked through. I read through it, and I grabbed the pertinent information for today. Today is not about the solve. There is stuff about the Madison, the solve, and all of that. But today is going to be more about April 2019. Well, let's go to the next slide. So this is going to be Reddit database information only. So I'll go back. I know you can't.
I got a couple things happening over here at the same time, everybody.
All right. Fine. See, that's why I locked myself.
That never works, though, does it? Okay.
I say we chain them all to, well, never mind.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so April 2019, during the Yellowstone trip, Jack writes an extensive email on what to do if you find the treasure chest. We already read that, and that was the huge long one that Mike read the entire post. We still have it up just to show, but we're going to go through the rest from April 19th all the way to June 7th, these pertinent ones. So Jack was boots on the ground in Yellowstone, and he wrote that, which we're going to talk about, because he immediately went to Santa Fe. And we're going to talk about that in the next step, but we've got to read through the Reddit posts first. And you can almost see, or in my opinion, you're seeing kind of a step-by-step scenario. Go ahead, Mike.
Wami with the super chat says a quick summary. We just started. He just joined. We're just starting now. You didn't miss anything. So basically we're recapping. We're going to go through Jack's posts on Reddit, and then we're going to go over a little bridge we like to call the conspiracy theory bridge.
Yeah. So so Mike already read this one. This was Forrest. Jack wrote this that says, "Congrats. You found the chest. Now how do we deal with the crazies?" And he goes into, we're not going to have Mike read it again because he's going to be reading a lot, but he basically says, avoid being named. You might have less media coverage, but you need to stay anonymous. And here's why. But you can see it's not just a one sentence, hey guys, stay anonymous.
He thought about it.
Yes.
He's really put some thought into it, right?
Yeah, and thank you guys for the super chat. So now let's that's where we started last week. So we have the first one. So let's go in now to the rest of them.
The Condor handle. All right, here we go.
So just to show you how it's set up, at the top there's going to be a subject line and a date, and then there's going to be.
Sorry,
that's okay. No, leave it. All right. Then let's give this as an example. So telling Forrest about the treasure chest. He wrote it on April 23rd. That top line is just kind of a summary because some people want the sound bites and not the entire thing. We're going to read the entire thing because it's going to build, I think, the mindset that Jack was in. So Mike, if you'll take the bottom paragraph.
So to be clear, this is a post from Condor on Reddit. Yeah. That's what I'm reading, just to make sure.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that I cut and pasted just to make them bigger, but the rest of them you'll actually see it's cut and pasted from the database.
Okay, so here we go. This is Condor on Reddit. I agree with this. If you tell him you went to the exact spot and it wasn't there, he asked for photos showing where it was. If you're actually right, I think it will notify everyone the chest has apparently been found. He's not going to ghost us considering searchers have died. He's 99.9% sure it hasn't been found. But if someone is for some reason courting trouble for themselves by keeping their find secret, we may have to wait for a second person to solve it to find out. And I would agree with that. Basically saying if somebody took it and never told Forrest, if somebody else finds the blaze, finds the spot, emails Forrest, says, I'm here, treasure chest is gone, Forrest would notify everybody. Yeah. What do you think, K-Pro?
Yeah. So I actually don't care as much about the answer. Is he starting to think about what if the treasure chest was found? What if the spot was found? Mm-hmm. This is the beginning. We're still in April of 2019. So that's where we're at.
I would also jump in and say there's going to be a theme that shows from these posts. This is in a different state of mind for Jack in April of 2019. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's jump. So next slide. Okay, a little bit longer. So you read that one, Mike, and then because we're going to jump now, April, now May, June. Now we're in June. 1 year from the. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
I agree that this is different than originally envisioned, but if it's the same spot, we can still think of it that way for our purposes. You are jumping to all sorts of conclusions. If it's found in Yellowstone National Park and the finder does everything in her power to prove beyond a reasonable doubt where it was found, brag about the exact location, bring witnesses, document the find and extraction on video and release it to the public, and removes the chest from the park without bringing it to the rangers, then maybe the government will try and take it. It would certainly annoy the park that the finder was so brazen, and they may blame the finder for all their annoyances with the hunt over the years. But even in that situation, this hunt is still without legal precedent, and the finder has plenty of legal footing to stand on that this was a transfer of ownership with no lapses, not to mention possession is 9/10 of the law, as they say. And if the government decided to try to take it, they wouldn't bring in the SWAT team like in your fantasies, and then they would probably just go through the formal process of trying to find and then it cuts off.
Yeah, there might be one more line there.
Yeah.
But basically, this is starting to set. Okay, so he's talking about he's framing his responses like he is knowledgeable about the park, and the hunt is without legal precedent. So, anything, Ben, you want to chime in there on?
Well, I would also say, if Jack is becoming knowledgeable about the park, Jack is not an outdoorsman in the past that I have researched. And so if Jack all of a sudden is researching the laws, bylaws, codes, and subcodes of Yellowstone National Park, I think we can assume Jack is very interested in Yellowstone National Park.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's starting to think it through. Like when somebody finds this thing, or if he's already found it, whatever the case is, he's really thinking through the scenarios, right? And posting
and let's remember context
feedback from others.
And I don't think it's in this PowerPoint because it doesn't need to be. There's so much in this. But, this is the same character who would post under this name and state, no one in this chase should be more than 20% confident in anything solve related.
Yep.
I don't see 20% confidence right now. I see a lot more than that.
Right. And he talks about like there's no lead searcher, but he's not talking as I think, I guess, would you consider. He's saying this is, but it becomes more and more. So let's keep going because we do have quite a few slides like this. So we're in June. Now we're going to jump to September.
Oh, 9/11. Media after find and value. Because their value will be much higher with the initial media attention of Fenn announcing it's been found. If he doesn't know, then congratulations. You can now potentially be held liable for the deaths of people looking for it after you found it. Not to mention everyone will hate you for wasting their time and money if they ever found out you did this. And as for your recession plan, prices of fine art and unique collectibles like the treasure chest move in lockstep with the stock markets. If the markets dive, you can't count on the irrational enthusiasm of rich folks with too much money. If you want to keep your capital in gold and gems, sell the treasure and buy gold and gems that don't have the added value of being part of Fenn's treasure. You'll be able to buy many more pounds than are in the chest. We did get a super chat from Indiana Jones. In the 1300s, 30% of the world's population died from the bubonic plague, 50 to 200 million people. Today, 30% of the world's population is 2 billion people. Title tit, boom, boom, bubonic plague. All right, Indiana Jones, you're a weird dude, but thank you for that super chat. A little math lesson. That's okay. So basically, again, Jack's talking about if you find it and you don't tell anybody, this is a possible scenario. Right, K-Pro?
Right. We're still getting into legalities. He's talking about libel. He's saying how you're going to sell it. And you'll see he's going to start to talk about how you sell it with the Fenn factor, et cetera. So we're still creeping in. April happened, April, May, June, July, September. Then I think September, October, November, December was an inflection point, in my opinion. It's going to start to take off. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah. And this, we're into different phases with him. Keep going.
Yeah. Let's just kind of hammer through a few of these because
okay.
You'll see the pattern. It'll start
way to the conspiracy theory bridge. That's where I come in. That's the fun part. Okay.
And there is an interesting trend as we go on here of this person has really researched what to do. And it's just very interesting to me that they forgot the marketing aspect of the value of the chest here because it's been handled poorly. Anyway, keep going.
All right, taxes and the move to Puerto Rico, September 20th, 2019. They found it, but remembered how high the short-term capital gains on collectibles are and left it right where it was. They're going to move to Puerto Rico to take advantage of the 0% capital gains tax incentive there and then go back and take possession of it. I think this is a huge one. As somebody who's been on Reddit and read probably most of the Forrest Fenn posts, has anybody ever brought this idea up before the Condor?
No, because the people investigating this particular comment knew where to find it, and you couldn't just find it. And of the majority, the 2 or 3 people who knew about this comment, they weren't K-Pro and Cow Powwow fans, and so they weren't even thinking of the idea of holy shit, this absolutely verifies K-Pro and Mike talking about Puerto Rico. Nobody in this chase has talked about Puerto Rico except for the Condor 2 and Mike and K-Pro.
And I got to say, People reach out to us with stuff. We didn't just make that up. We didn't just, pull it out of thin air. People reach out. So,
Which we're going to talk about that
And-
later. But
Yeah.
coincidentally, he brings up Puerto Rico.
Don't say
Let's just-
coincidence. No, I was just gonna say nope. This isn't coincidence.
How can it be a coincidence? Okay.
Let
So
me just
now
go off
we
the top of my
have.
head. There's like 127 FIFA World Cup national teams. So there's at least 124 countries out there that I know of. And he just happens to name Puerto Rico, which is come on.
well, and I'll just point out, it was more breaking news. It was broken on our channel. But I know people didn't believe it at the time, but now maybe you do. Just like I don't think a lot of people believed we had Jack's posts on Reddit until it was released on Reddit, and everybody went, oh, wow, I guess, it is.
But here's the thing that no one is going to understand, and they'll hopefully understand it further after this. This isn't the smoking gun or anything. But what this does do is verify some things behind the scenes, corroborate some things behind the scenes that have been said in the past that might have been dismissed. Now, maybe we don't dismiss those things. And now we start to connect some things behind the dots. This is why sharing of information all of a sudden opens up doors that didn't exist before.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. We have a lot to go over, so let's keep hammering through these.
Okay.
So Condor tells Jack to move to Puerto Rico, and the big thing is
Condor
0%.
tells Jack. Okay,
See, here's the other thing, and I don't know if it is on this one or the next one. You have to hold on. Condor's telling Jack, you've got to hold on to the chest for 1 year. A lot of people have been wondering, why is he holding on to the chest? Well, the Condors figured out short-term capital gains. You got to hold on to the chest for a year. You're going to pay short-term capital gains. Okay, keep going, Mike. We're in September now. Let's just keep this idea. Okay.
Legal setup of the hunt, October 7, 2019. Well, yeah, but the problem is we may not know what kind and what legal standing we have because he didn't set this up well. Forrest always said he thought of everything, but hey, maybe not. Super chat from Wami, who says, Jack says he spent 25 days in Wyoming Rockies without encountering a dangerous animal, an absolute impossibility. Well, anybody who's been out there that long could probably weigh in on that, but thank you for the super chat, Wami. Okay.
I haven't been out. Okay, so this is the beginning, in my opinion. The October was a transition point. He's saying it nicely. In a minute, he's going to call it Forrest set up a shit show. Right now, he's just saying Forrest didn't set this up well. This is the beginning where I believe, and we're going to talk about what we believe later, but this is the beginning that I think Condor at least has enough information to go, this is different than Forrest thinks. So this is where he starts to get irritated, and then he flat out gets, I think, a little bit more upset later. So he's saying Forrest didn't set this up well. I think Forrest's family could probably say, yeah, all the crazy people, sure. But
I'm going to show this question from the chat, K-Pro, so you and Ben can address it. What's the actual proof that Jack Stoof moved to Puerto Rico? Wasn't that sourced from a social media account that appeared to be fake? And I just want you two to talk about the sources that have reached out to you two that want us to share things but want to remain anonymous. We're not, like I said before, we're not just grabbing things out of air, right?
Can we parking lot that for a second to get into step 3? Because
it'll be addressed. It'll be addressed.
It'll be addressed. But there is a place outside of that. It is on an official document. I told Jack that I saw it on the official document. He recognized. He said he knows it's on that official document. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay.
But we have also anyway. Yeah.
K-Pro cuss. She's got some laundry to do. Did you just cuss? If you did, I missed it. Chasing Indy, thank you for
I quoted Condor. He said, beach.
Quoting is okay. All right, here we go. So Jack's beginning the question. Maybe Forrest didn't really think of everything. The legal find, October 8th, 2019. It's been well established it doesn't count as treasure trove. It's not considered an art collection, but rather collectibles and taxed as collectible capital gains above your cost basis on any sale at the rate for that, unless you've held on to it for less than a year, in which case it would be according to your bracket. But if you acquired a chest worth this much, your bracket will be higher than 28%. The question is if it's also considered a contest prize for tax purposes. That's interesting. Is it a contest or not? That's exactly what worries me, the Condor 2 says. He thinks you can always just get lawyers to clean up a mess. But what if he screwed over the guy or girl who finds it by not planning ahead? The law of the land is not, however, Forrest Fenn is concerned. And again, It's not treasure trove. We know who it belongs to. It's not lost. And the 28% rate for capital gains on collectibles is only if you've held it for 1 full year before selling. So that answers some questions on maybe why the treasure chest hasn't been sold, right?
Right. And he's gone from this isn't sold up well to Forrest may have screwed over the finder. His emotions are getting stronger with the words that he's using, and this is only a couple days later. Anything on this, Ben? Okay, keep
Nope.
going, Mike, because we have quite a few of these because it's building up to something.
Taxes, October 8th and 12th, 2019. Forrest did not draw clear legal lines when designing the hunt. All right, let me just read the Reddit part.
Yes.
Well, this has been discussed many times, and it seems Fenn did not draw clear legal lines when he was designing this thing. I agree treating it as a gift should be the most likely course, and I would actually refrain from moving the chest before notifying Fenn you have found his property and asking him if he would like you to return it to him or if he would like to draw up a gift deed to transfer ownership before you take it out of there. Fenn would have to list the gift on his tax return, but would only have to pay taxes himself on it if he's already reached his lifetime maximum on gifts. You would be responsible for capital gains taxes on the sale of the chest. I think he wants us to ignore the law and be a maverick about it, but I think that's just asking for trouble later on. Get everything in writing.
So basically, this is exactly what he did if Condor is Jack and Jack is Condor, and we know that Jack is Condor. But he's starting to say Forrest wants the finder to ignore the law and to be a maverick.
Well, what Forrest said in our interview is the person who finds it has ownership, as far as I'm concerned. And what Condor or what Jack is saying is it really doesn't matter what Forrest thinks. I mean, the IRS is going to do what the IRS does.
Right, and
It's
you'll see
interesting that Forrest said that to you guys when in 2019.
November 2019.
Oh,
yeah.
you're going to see.
As far as Forrest is concerned, the legalities have been taken care of, and as far as Jack is concerned,
everybody.
Oh.
And that's going to be the conspiracy theory bridge a little bit later on. But Jack, Condor, Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Okay, here we go. We'll go to the next one.
Next one.
Are we in a contest? Now, this is a good one. Are we in a contest, legally speaking, October 10th, 2019? This is one of three, so it's a long one.
Yes, it goes. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Go ahead.
Condor/Jack. Are we in a contest? I was pretty persuaded by another user on Reddit. He gives a link that argued that Fenn probably created a trust in 2010 to give the chest to create a tax event that would protect himself from future tax issues and to ensure the chest could be gifted to the finder at the appropriate time after they found it. However, Dale Neitzel and Cynthia Meacham have claimed that Fenn's famous statement that he spent a bunch of money on lawyers refers to something he did years after the hunt began, not before it began, based on conversations they've had with him. If this is true, it means he probably didn't take any precautionary legal steps to safeguard the hunt before it started. So it's doubtful the chest was put into a trust at the time. I think most of us have assumed Fenn will gift the chest to us if we find it in some capacity, and then pay the applicable gift taxes in that year if he hasn't already via a trust creation. The finder would then need to pay capital gains taxes if they sell it. But is that really the applicable situation? Remember when Oprah gave her entire audience cars? Well, it turns out that those cars were considered a prize, not a gift. And he gives a link to Forbes. So audience members were surprised they needed to declare them as income on their taxes, according to the retail price of the cars. If they didn't have the money to pay the taxes, they had to sell the car quickly in order to get cash to pay them. It's interesting what he's talking about here, for sure. This has been discussed many times, and it seems Fenn did not draw clear legal lines when he was designing this thing. Sorry. I agree treating it as a gift should be the most likely course, and I would actually refrain from moving the chest before notifying Fenn you have found his property and asking him if he would like you to return it to him or if he would like to draw up a gift deed to transfer ownership before you take it out of there. Fenn would have to list the gift on his tax return, but will only have to pay taxes himself on it if he's already reached his lifetime maximum on gifts. You would be responsible for capital gains taxes on the sale of the chest. I think he wants us to ignore the law and be a maverick about it.
Wait, we just did this one. I thought we were doing the 1, 2, 3. What happened?
This is the order, I thought. Oh, maybe I went the wrong way. Sorry.
Yeah, you went the wrong way.
But, the second paragraph where he says, well, Dale and Cynthia says he talked to lawyers after. He also talked to lawyers before the hunt started. Right. So that's still a possibility.
We know this, right? That he talked to lawyers before?
Yeah.
I talked to
yeah.
lawyers before, and he talked to a lawyer between 15 and 16. That becomes important in a little bit when Forrest basically says something else did happen. Supposedly, Condor is saying that he wrote a scrapbook to tell everybody. We'll get into that in a minute, but keep going.
If the screen is fuzzy, everybody change your resolution. So there's a little gear in the screen of YouTube. Just change it to 720p. Some people's default is the lowest to save on bandwidth, and it'll look fuzzy, but you can just change the quality. Okay. This hunt, one could easily argue, is a game of skill. Fenn says you just need to figure out the clues, and the first one to it can have it. If he wanted to avoid it being seen as a contest, he's done a horrible job with his public comments. To me, it seems to meet the IRS definition of a contest. However, when someone sets up a contest, they're supposed to give a detailed set of rules. We've all heard those. Contest ends on such and such a date, not valid in such and such state, no purchase necessary, family members aren't allowed to win, void where prohibited. He hasn't done that, and it may not be a valid contest if there's an element of luck. So what legal issues might crop up for the finder if the IRS decides this is a contest, but the contest isn't exactly legal? And how do you do your taxes if Fenn says it's a gift, but the IRS may think it's a contest? Your strategy for selling it may be vastly different. If it's a gift, trying to figure out your cost basis will be a big headache if he just bought stuff randomly at gun shows, like he says, and has no receipts. Then you'll have some incentive to hold on to the chest for a full year before selling, because capital gain taxes are much higher for collectibles held less than 1 year. If it's a contest prize, it'll be considered income, and you'll have to get it appraised to determine its value, quotation fingers, before quickly selling so you can pay your tax bill. So again, he talks about holding on to it for a year. I didn't know about this collectibles hold on to it for a year law. So it looks sounds like Jack's done his homework for sure.
I haven't looked into it. That's the big thing. It looks like Jack is spending a significant amount of time before April 19. He's talking about the blaze. He's talking about so many different things. All of a sudden, these are the pertinent discussions that he's having. He's not just kind of looking in. Look at the level of detail that we're only 2/3 of the way through it. Keep going, Mike.
And after April 2019, it makes it sound as if he's not worried about finding it. He's worried about the legal repercussions. Okay.
He's no longer asking people what they think where Warm Water's halt is. He's not mocking people for their solves. Change.
He's past that. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But hold on. Remember that chest is also a collectible. So if you sell it, you get taxed on it again for capital gains above your cost basis at the high 1-year rate. If it's a prize, you also need to worry about state income taxes. If there are state income taxes in the state where the chest is, it would seem you would need to pay them. But what if Fenn recklessly put it in a national park and there are legal issues with coming forward on where you found it? And is your home state, which would otherwise get those income taxes, will they be willing to go along with where you found it if you don't provide evidence? And is New Mexico the legal state of the contest, because that's where Fenn lives and the book is published, regardless of where the chest is? The more I read, the more I think this is an absolute legal and tax shit show. And I don't believe him when he says he thought of everything. He did this by the seat of his pants, and it shows. Good luck to whoever finds it. You may find yourself living in court. We did get a super chat real quick. Not one single searcher understands the gift tax exemption. Everyone misunderstands the tax law. Please, someone read the law.
No, well, and that person go and talk to Jack. I don't even want to get into. Right. But look at his words by this point. Forrest may have set this up wrong. Forrest may have not said it. We have a shit show on our hands. I cussed again. That is his word. I cuss because it's exact verbiage for him. I'll do more laundry. That's fine. But it's exact verbiage. There's an exemption if it's exact verbiage. He has gone from this is kind of an issue to this is a nightmare. What do you think, Ben?
I mean, I agree, and the whole concept that he's wondering, it's not even a thing I would have thought of myself. Does the chest belong in New Mexico? And lo and behold, it hasn't moved from New Mexico, according to the official story. So it seems as if that research paid off for him, or at least he's using the research. His actions after the find have matched verbatim pre-find.
Well, and he's talking about national park as well. Go ahead, Mike.
I just like how he does a very long thing on legal implications if you find it and all this. And then at the very end, he says, oh, and whoever finds it, you may be in trouble. I got to cover myself. And he adds that at the very last line, he says, whoever finds it.
And these are paragraphs that he's writing. Like,
Right.
he's taking
They're
time on this.
novels.
I don't know why he needs to tell himself these things on Reddit, because it doesn't apply to literally anybody. I mean, this is the definition of counting your eggs before they hatch. Don't count your money while you're sitting at the table. Like,
except if he
pretty
already
sure.
had, with that exception. Yep.
Except if he knew something everybody else didn't. Silver Fox says this isn't unique information to discuss. Most searchers covered this stuff in videos, comments, and forums. But the reason it's relevant is because of the boots on the ground in 2019 and how he changed his posts on Reddit. He pivoted to this.
All this information is context that will make sense at the end.
Yeah, so we're building to that, and then we have a summary at the end of what happened. Okay, keep going.
And we've got a new $10,000 treasure hunt, and we're doing a giveaway, so stick around to the end for that as well. Okay, next slide, right?
Yes.
Okay. Taxes.
Yeah, we're still in October. These are all in
October
October.
17th, 2019. Taxes, right. But you can't just say taxes are completely someone else's responsibility if that's not what the law says. If you gift something over 15 grand, you have to announce that on your taxes. Otherwise, every large estate would be writing poem-based treasure hunts to pass assets to their children. LOL. That's actually pretty funny. So he's just thinking all this through, right?
Right.
Okay.
Ashley, see chat, please. Okay, keep going.
Hang on. What happened? All right, hang on. Oh, right here. This is where we're at? Hang on,
I think so.
Yeah, let me verify it. Yes, that is where we're at. Sorry about that, everybody. I got that itchy trigger finger. Okay. It's actually the chat and the PowerPoint at the same time. Okay. Taxes and legal, October 17th, 2019. If he was completely ignorant about these potential legal issues when he hit it, but so worried about what the lawyer said after the fact, and then decided, I know, I'll make up a lie about my deceased friend so I can hide this information in a scrapbook that only the people wearing lead searcher tinfoil hats will be able to decipher, then wouldn't he write that scrapbook soon after he talked to the lawyers, not in late 2019? Why wait so many years? If there's a special decoder ring in specially marked cereal boxes that tells us why he had to wait several years to release that. What do you guys think this one means?
Well, go to the next slide on this one, because I need to give a shout out to a searcher. I went through everything in October. I was on Scrapbook 218. Thank you to Vertigo. He's the one that laid out that nice solve. He's like, no, this was discussed on Reddit when it came out. It's actually Scrapbook 214, and it discussed about, basically, it says at the end, I am not legally liable. This is your show type of thing. We're going to go back to the scrapbooks at a later point, but there was, in fact, a scrapbook that was discussed on Reddit in length that, reading between the lines, most of the Redditors thought this is Forrest saying, I don't care what your legal issues are. Right, Ben? You were on Reddit. So did you see this discussion when 214 came out? Wait, you're muted.
You're muted. You're muted, Ben. You're muted.
Yeah, but I didn't understand what I was looking at the time. This was so early for me, so I didn't know what I was looking at at the time.
Well, so we're gonna sidebar that for another day. Both 214. A lot of people thought Chaos and Embroidery were about them. I have some of my own crazy theories. Chaos and Embroidery might have been Jack and Forrest. We'll get into that more later. Not even going to discuss that because we're only into the facts. Let's keep going, Mike.
So this is, you said go to the next one. Scrapbook 214. You just explained this, right? Scrapbook. Got it.
Go to the next one.
Okay, legal. Now we're in November 11th, 2019. You're probably right, and I'm sure he personally wouldn't object to you driving around with it, but I've never had something this valuable in my possession before, and there's some legal murkiness to this hunt, so I would want everything in writing, personally. It's better to have a clear transfer of ownership date and documented discussion with the original owner to avoid any opening for legal issues with the authorities of the land it's on, especially if it's a national park. The last thing you want is for someone to be able to claim it was abandoned.
That's what I'm saying. It's the abandonment issue that makes everything screwed up, and Jack knows it.
And that's why he left it.
He did, and that's the problem. This is the first thing that I thought of for the hunt was he left it there. Google the laws. If it's in a national park, that's abandoning your property. It doesn't matter if someone brings it to the superintendent. You abandon it. That alone is illegal. Chest is gone.
You're talking about when Jack found it because he left it overnight. That's
no. I'm saying the minute Forrest Fenn placed the chest on the ground and walked away purposely, he abandoned it purposely. He can't even argue. Oh, I forgot it, like my wallet. He wrote a whole poem. I mean,
that's true.
Unless there's some coded message that he forgot it at the spot in the poem, it screws up. So Jack is seeing the same thing.
And this is exactly what Jack did if it was found in a national park. So Condor Jack, wow. Okay, keep going.
November 11th, 2019. Exactly. Get it from him in writing once it's been found. A court is not going to say he gave it to you the moment you found it if he had no idea you were there or who you are. If it ever leaks where the treasure was found, everyone who is nearby at some point is going to come out and claim they were in the wood, quotation fingers, first. So the poem says it's theirs. Don't depend on a poem for your legal basis. I agree with that. And then he continues in another post. I think you're right, but unless there are some documents in the chest telling you what to do, I wouldn't just take it. Tell Fenn and provide photos and ask what to do with it. It's not a good legal strategy to walk around with something that doesn't belong to you. Get it in writing that he wants you to return it to his house for him or has signed over ownership to you via a gift decree. That way, when you leave with it, you are either the owner or have explicit instructions from the owner, just as with finding a wallet that includes an ID with a phone number on it. There's no reason to involve any authorities if you know who it belongs to and contact them yourself.
Explicit instructions rather than explicit permission, but similar wording.
Yeah, right. Chasing Indy with a super chat says that proves Fenn had a partnership with the park. I don't know if that proves that.
So.
Yeah, I don't think.
In fact, I would say to Indy and anyone else who's wondering about that, because it's a good question to ask or a good topic to ask or bring up. But I think if anything that we go back 2 slides, and this is where I'm showing all the slides. If you go back a slide or two, Jack is going, I think Fenn wants us to be a maverick with the law. And I don't think that's quarantined to just tax law. I think what Jack is saying is Fenn wants us to just not care what the law is about Yellowstone because who made the laws? Silly men, blah, blah, blah. It's like if you remember what Jack said prior, the comments here go, oh, interesting.
Yeah. Well, let's keep going because we can talk about this all night, but you're exactly right.
What's important
and
is
none
what
of
Jack
this is the point yet. That's
right.
Okay.
We're like not even near the punchline. So
it's leading somewhere, everybody. It's leading somewhere. Okay. But thanks for the super chat. Chasing Indy would destroy the place. November 27th, 2019. I wouldn't be worried about the news crews, but everyone is going to be crowding around with their metal detectors trying to see if you or Fenn dropped anything. And the people who like to dig holes are going to dig holes and destroy the place. I think out of respect for Fenn's special place and in following the leave no trace principle, the spot shouldn't be announced. And that's before you even get to the nuance lawsuits against you and Fenn by people who were 200 or 500 feet away at one time. I'm sure he will also have an opinion on this question when you find it. Copper Dan says, help with Jack's legal fees. Easy, Copper Dan.
I'm so sick of the if Fenn or you, the finder, drop something. This is a closed chest. Nobody's dropping anything from the chest. It's such a ridiculous concept that he does.
Well, you know what people say, the emerald ring, where is it? Did somebody drop it? Is it out there?
I agree. But if that emerald ring was anywhere, it was purposely left there. It didn't just fall out of the box.
But I do like that Jack said even back then, I wouldn't say, you shouldn't say. I mean, he gives the reasons. So it's not like he made that up.
Right.
Post-fine, was it post-fine?
But a stick got thrown in there, and he didn't even know how that happened, and he threw the stick out. Wonk, wonk,
it just blew in there. Yeah. Indiana Jones with a super chat says, in the wood means Elijah Wood. It's the movie Deep Impact. There's a comet headed toward Earth. Forrest has created the doomsday button. Indiana Jones is our movie reference expert, everybody. Thank you for the super chat.
I'll top that. I'll top you, Indiana Jones. In the Wood is a reference to Elijah Wood, who was in Back to the Future Part 2 for about 1 minute. So it's really, he's talking about time travel.
He was one of the kids in the diner, right? I just read that recently.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Yes. Okay. K-Pro's like, what are you guys talking about?
All right, moving on.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Rudy Green with the $5 super chat says for Ben's herb fund. Hello. What time is it? Is it
I
4:20?
think
No,
it
it's not
may need to
4:20
be
now.
more than $5, Rudy. That's just a guess, though. That's just a guess. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Too funny.
Because now I'm getting anxious. Let's get to
All
the
right.
punchline.
So November 27, he's talking about they would destroy the place.
I thought we just, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I did. Taxes. He would only have to pay taxes if he's already gifted more than $20 million to individuals above his allowances. The finder will pay taxes on any capital gains above the basis.
Yeah.
It being labeled as a gift is in both Fenn's and the finder's best interest. If it's labeled a contest, that opens up a whole can of worms, legally speaking. It sets up both he and the finder for lawsuits. Treasure trove law wouldn't apply to this situation for several decades. What is clear? Is that crossed out or do I read it?
No, it was off 2 different pages, so I tried to crop them together.
What is clear is Fenn didn't and doesn't really want to think about legality, despite some searchers telling you he thought of everything. So I don't think you can eliminate any type of land. Sorry. And that's
it's just more of the
talk
tax.
on
right.
What's the reality of when you actually find this thing. Sure, we say take it and put it under your bed for 30 days, but what's the actual reality?
That seems to be where his mindset is.
Think of his mentality too. He likes to instigate. He's doing it much less, but the comma sorry at the end of the final sentence is his addiction to making sure you as the other reader know he's right.
Yeah.
And he's just getting more and more confident each time.
Well, he was. He found it.
Yeah.
He was right, actually. Okay.
Right, right. But again, this is the same man who said, unless you have the chest or Fenn's GPS from 2009, you shouldn't be more than 20% confident.
Yeah, I didn't even show those slides. Okay, keep going, Mike.
The find/taxes. Well, they can wait for the finder to get a tax bill on their capital gain and gift them that amount. But that's only if they sell it. As long as he doesn't give it as a gift, the finder won't pay any taxes for the gift. And giving it as a gift is really the only plausible legal situation here, though I don't think Fenn himself has given it much thought. So again, he gives a little shot to Forrest on how he didn't think of everything.
Yeah, the same person he was saying, oh, we need to make sure it's not destroyed. He's zinging. Yeah. Okay, keep going.
Wami, no chest was left anywhere. It was a token. The chest never left Santa Fe. Wouldn't that be if that was the case? But I don't think that's the case, Wami. But thank you for the super chat. And you have a right to your opinion. Okay, bidding on the chest. Here we go. What are we going to do with it, Jack? First of all, it is in nobody's interest to agree with you. What are we talking to? The value is what the higher of 2 people bidding against each other are willing to pay for it. The hype definitely plays into that price. And we all want that hype to still be there when we find it. I don't think it's at all accurate to say auction houses will not be interested. The big houses have auctioned other smaller armchair treasure hunt prizes that received far, far less attention. This one has gotten huge attention with just about every media outlet you can think of featuring a story on it at one point or another, including all of the major broadcast networks. Media interest in certain rare auctions is a huge factor in building and maintaining an auction house's brand. Who would buy this thing? For some reason, the hunt has attracted many retired people with expendable income. A collection of maps once owned by Fenn. Hey, who's he talking about? A collection of maps once owned by Fenn went for thousands on eBay. A toothbrush holder purportedly made by Fenn went for $5 or $6K last year. Someone made coins with his face on them that could have sold for hundreds and even thousands on eBay. The data supporting the Fenn premium is definitely there. Nobody knows what the exact multiple will be on the treasure chest value, but it exists. Well, that tells me Jack is going to put it in a major auction house, so that's good news, unless he's changed his mind since his post. But
this tells me he was thinking about it significantly in February before he's going to retrieve the chest.
So at this point, yeah, all right, well, I'm not even going to speculate. So, okay, right. He's thinking about now, what about selling it? So,
right,
yeah.
right.
And
okay.
I agree with what he's putting. I mean, he seems like a smart guy. Hang on. Darn it. Hang on. Give me a second, everybody. Take a break.
We're at the very last because now we're going to
all right.
it's the last one. And then we're going to transition to let's overlay this on the searcher desk, the information coming in the hunt side. So the forest side, what's happening in the hunt? When did Yellowstone open? That sort of thing. So let's take those two pieces. That's going to be the next one. But we have, I think, one or two more. Keep going, Mike.
So post just after the find, June 7th, 2020. Well, this aged well. What's he referring to if not the treasure chest, right?
Yeah, that was it right there.
So right there. I mean, does he just think nobody would ever figure out he was the condor too?
I think he had
and what he was
big of an ego. Yes.
What he was commenting on was, if I'm going off memory, but I believe he was commenting on somebody saying that the poem was unsolvable.
Randy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we're not starting over, Randy. We're just getting to the good part. Okay, so now let's transition. We've gone through enough that you can kind of see, in my opinion, his mindset. But words, I don't want to put words in his mouth. These are his words. Forrest is giving the finder a shit show. And these are his words. He did not set this up well. He has said it like he sees it. Okay, so let's...
Next.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, next slide.
Step 3, review the Reddit postings with what was happening in the chase and Jack.
Okay, and there's only 3 or 4 slides on this, but this is the crux of our discussion. So,
get into it.
Okay, so next slide. Okay, so these are going to be set up in a way that the green is the Condor post that we just went over. The blue is press release information, what's happening in the press. The ones in lettering of black come from sources. We're going to show you an example of the level of source data that we have. And then just miscellaneous, like the first is on April 15th, Jack received the unedited New Mexico tourism video. He said it was in February. Okay. Yeah, he said it was in February, but the New Mexico Tourism Board, I've verified in 2 different FOIAs, it was April 15th. So that came from a miscellaneous source, which was the FOIA. Now, if we look at the press releases, Yellowstone Park, we talked about this before, opened on the 19th. April 20th, Paco, if you guys remember, there was a searcher that thought Forrest's granddaughter Mika was the treasure chest. And if you kidnapped her and held her for ransom, Forrest would give you the treasure chest. So he had already gone to jail. And on April 20th, he tried to break into Forrest's home, violating his probation. That was at 2:35 news report. I also have a source that was there that day, but it doesn't matter because it's just factual data. Let's just keep it factual. On April 21st, so we're day after day here. April 21st, Jack flies into Colorado Springs, meets a man, search partner or friend. I'm not going to get into the semantics of that, picks up Jack and heads to West Yellowstone. He doesn't rent a car, and it's owned by the friend. This is going to be an example of source data. We're actually going to show you the picture that we have on this one with personal information redacted.
And that's coming up. Breaking news, everybody. All right.
We can't do that with everything because there is personal information and there is sources that have said you can't show that particular thing. But that's a huge reason that Ben is here and Mike is here is we've seen the data on the back end. So let me get through this and we're going to show a picture in a second. But anything in black, you're going to have to, you're going to see a little bit, but then trust a little bit. And Ben and I can both say, Ben, I'll let you speak. It's verified information. It's not, we're kind of thinking because they said one thing and said, this is verified pictures, data. I mean, I won't say what it is, but it's like toll road data. I mean, it's verified information. Ben?
And the beautiful thing is, and the reason why it took so long was we have 100% verifiable data and we have a corroborating source of another 100% verifiable data, and the two verified each other, and then that's what starts. So I mean, that's why this took so long.
They don't know each other.
Yeah.
Independent of each other. Okay.
Right.
And everybody
and real data.
Yeah. And I know somebody's going to ask, well, who are the sources? We're not going to tell you the sources. That's why they're sources, because they don't want to be known. That's why they give it to us and Ben so that we can present it to the community. So just we're not.
And if they say they want to be, Yeah, and if
Yeah.
you want to, if the sources say they want to be outed, and give their handle or name or whatever, we wouldn't do that against their will, because
Right.
there are crazy people out there. There's search partners that out other search partners, and it's awful. Those
And
are
they won't.
not good.
They
human
won't ever
beings.
want to be outed. They won't ever want to be
Right.
outed, because what we have is something that will get them in trouble.
It's personal. Yeah, and it's personal. Okay. So keep going, Mike.
Okay.
Or go back. Don't click yet. Just
No, we're
open it
good.
back up.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we have on April 24th or 21st, we know Jack flies into Colorado Springs. I asked you guys up on Thor, why would you fly into Colorado Springs if you're searching in West Yellowstone? But we know, flew into Colorado Springs, headed to West Yellowstone with this particular person. Arrest warrant was issued for Paco on that same day. The next day, the 22nd, Paco was arrested for violating probation in the town that Mike and I live in right now. Great. The next day, that same day, Jack is in Yellowstone. Then his post on Reddit, April 23rd, he posts on Reddit, the best way in his experience to get a response from Forrest is to provide photos. And the next day he says, Jack writes this Condor writes this extensive, what do you do if you find the chest, that really long one? And then the next day he heads to Santa Fe.
So
and
hang
again,
on.
let's not.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah.
Faction.
No, you go. You go.
No, I was just going to say, let's be clear on how crazy this is. This is April of 2019. This is more than a year before the chest was found, that there is verified information that Jack was in Yellowstone and then drove right down to Santa Fe. And all these other
here's
happening at the same time.
Yes.
And this is the first big lie within a lie that we're now uncovering. We know that Jack lied about the FOIA being in April, so he's hiding the idea of April. And so now within the month of April, we find out something that's completely against what he's told us in the official story. He said he went by himself. He's been asked this question in multiple ways. Were you going with a partner? Were you going with a friend? Were you just going with another human being? And his answer has always been, if I was going with somebody, they'd own half the chest. So no, we know 100% for a fact that Jack flew to Colorado Springs and met with, I don't know what you would call it, a friend, a partner, another human being.
Another
human being. And from Colorado Springs, they drive directly to West Yellowstone. So, we know this for a fact.
Wait, let's bring up, let's continue to discuss this, but we're going to give the picture of the boots on the ground vehicle. Yeah, let's just give.
This is the proof.
This is the level of, one of the sources of several. Here's an example of what we see that we can verify. Next slide, Mike.
Thumbs up for this picture, everybody. All right, sorry. So explain this, K-Pro.
Okay, so this is a car. This is the car that we have been told that had Jack in it and had the search person in it, owned this car. We have redacted the private information, but verified the license plate. But isn't it funny that he even has a Temple University bumper sticker?
And how does that relate to Jack? Just so everybody's on the same page.
Jack was going to college at Temple University in Pennsylvania.
Okay. Now this is in Yellowstone?
This is in Yellowstone. We don't want to get into too much.
Yeah,
we're not going to give too much, but I will guess.
This is near West Yellowstone. That's it.
Near, yes. Near,
okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, interesting. And this puts Jack there in April of 2019, I guess. Okay, got it.
So think about this. This is what we just wanted to give one example that we did get permission, because a lot of the sources don't want to give this level of permission, and they did. And this tells you we're not just kind of surmising this and that. This is the level of detail. If you run that plate, you know the person, you know the relationship to Jack, you know. All of those pieces come together very, very quickly. They're verified quickly when you have this level of detail.
So now we have two main lies. We have a lie about the FOIA in April, and we have a lie that he was alone the entire time searching. He was not. So now we have two lies. And then what's next on his itinerary on this trip?
We never knew he went to Santa Fe, did we?
We didn't know he went to Santa Fe.
All right. And he did. And they drove down to Santa Fe? I'm just guessing. I don't know.
They drove directly.
From
Okay,
Yeah.
so one thing that do we want to share the one thing that's not in that because we can. We just can't share how we know, but we can share the place because it'll make sense after Saturday if we do share it. I'm doing this live without asking.
I don't know what you're saying.
Live, breaking live news, everybody. You guys better
let me
text.
You know what? Yeah, text me real quick because I'm
let me
going.
message
You know
you.
what? This is really serious. This brings another person in. This brings, there's absolute crazy people going after people's families. So,
Talk about
do you have
a
permission to say
bulletin
that?
board, and you've got strings.
I
to
have
post it.
I have permission to say the location.
All right, go.
I don't have permission to say how we know, as usual, but I have permission on the location.
I think it's too much in one night, but you know what? Let's bring it. Go ahead.
I think we should. So Jack flies to Colorado Springs because we know how. I mean, it's becoming obvious how we know. Jack flies to Colorado Springs with this person that we're not mentioning, and then they go to West Yellowstone. After a day in West Yellowstone, they leave Yellowstone completely. Their final ping is in at least what I'm told from. I can't say how I know. I'm told this. They stop at Canyon Village, and then they stop at Hell's Half Acre. And then from Hell's Half Acre, they go back to Yellowstone, and then from Yellowstone, they go down to Santa Fe. That's what I know for a fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Muscless and Good says, how do you know that he didn't have a friend that agreed to let him borrow his car?
Okay, well, we can
verified
explain
for-
how we know that. We can't explain the actual fact, but we were told there's two people in that car, one of them being Jack.
Right. There were two people. Right. There were two people. Two people in that car. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's just, and I don't want to get hung up on this, the particular data and information. Let's just continue.
Right.
Let's just continue. So
Next
this is,
slide?
so when we say source, this is the types of things that we're getting.
And again, everybody, this is provided to us. It's not us that's doing these, researching these things, trying to figure these things out. People have done the work and then say, hey, you put it out because we can't. And now here we are talking about it. Again, you guys, you got to make your own decision on this stuff. Or your own opinion, I guess. Take your own takeaway from it. We ready for the next slide?
Yeah.
Not breaking news. I hit the wrong button. Chasing Indy with the super chat. What I meant to hit was this. She says, Hell's Half Acre. Now the laughing all makes sense. I know stuff without knowing stuff.
Okay, so if you were on Ben's show, Indy was on Ben's show, and Ben was like,
it was on Indy. It was on Indy's show.
Oh, on Indy's show. He's like, just pick a place. Just pick any random place somewhere in Wyoming, and I just want to talk about a random place. And she goes, Hell's Half Acre.
Oh,
and
is that right?
And Ben just started dying because she didn't know from us anyway. We just started dying, and she's like,
guessed it.
what?
Okay.
Yeah, she did, which was funny. Okay.
Now here's one for you guys. Mystery solved. No, that's wrong. Mystery solved says, K-Pro, how do you know the person providing this information isn't working with Jack to provide disinformation?
So like another like GPS, the person's like just messing with it. I know you still believe in GPS. Fairy tale, like one of the others. That's why I brought Ben in and Mike in. One, I think we've learned a lot from it, but I don't think I don't know. I don't believe.
Well, and I'm going to answer for myself. The answer I would give is we don't know that. But if some of these sources are known and it's you judge the person that's giving the information, you judge the information and you make a decision, you make a judgment call. Would you agree with that, Ben? Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. All right. Next slide. Are we ready to continue on? Oh, but not before another super chat. Chasing Indy says, that's because Fenn told me that's where he and Skippy went in Wyoming. I have the email to prove it! ! And the stamps match that post office.
So look,
we're going to have Acre, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to have lots of good fun discussion. Okay, next slide. So now we have April. Let's go back to what we were talking about in April. You don't need to go back. But in April, we have Jack going to Colorado Springs, getting up to West Yellowstone, and then racing down to Santa Fe. We have enough verified proof that takes him and puts him in all of these different spots. So now let's continue with the timeline. We just went over this, so I'm not going to go over this slide too much. But in June, he's starting to talk about the, removing it from a national park. There's no legal precedent, liability of death, treasure chest, Puerto Rico. I don't know if Condor or Jack took Condor's example, but he said you can move to Puerto Rico. We know that he went boots on the ground in late 2019. That was his last boots on the ground for 2019. And then he comes back on, this is a shit show. This is a shit show. It's reckless to put it in a national park. Okay, so next slide. This is where it really gets interesting for me. So April was kind of big, and now let's look to see what happens.
Okay.
So November, he's still talking, but here's what happens now. In December, we know that Dale has all those emails from Forrest saying, I'm thinking about calling off the hunt. Cynthia gets told there's going to be big surprises in 2020. Okay. What happens now? Next slide.
Thank you, Ami. Totally blown away. 5 exclamation points. Little inside joke for anybody that watches our vlog. Yeah, that's right. That is very interesting, isn't it? Dale, Forrest emails Dale in December, says, I'm thinking of calling it off. Jack was there April of that year.
Okay. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. So then in January, a searcher is arrested for the Grand Canyon rescue. We know Dave is his name. That was in the news report. In February, Condor starts talking about, if I get the chest, how do I, we already read that one, the Fenn multiplier. He talks about the toothbrush.
The value.
Now, in March of 2020, March 21st, 2 searchers get stranded, and one of them is found deceased. On the 23rd, that scrapbook that Forrest said Willie was retarded, didn't you think it was odd that Forrest used the word retarded? And do you remember when Shiloh came in our room a year later?
Yep.
He used the word retarded.
He said Willie is retarded. And that's when I thought, that's not Shiloh. That's somebody screwing around.
Right.
It's almost
That
like
sounds like a
Shiloh
troll.
trying to point us back to the scrapbook, right?
Right. Which now, if you look at Jack regarding Sarah Palin and the reason he was let go of whatever establishment he was in, he called Trig Palin. This is an exact quote. I'm not trolling him. What's he dreaming about? Nothing. He's retarded. I'm not going to give an opinion. I'm just going to say this is factual information. We have Forrest saying the word retarded. Even if Forrest, we say, oh, he's a little older, he doesn't get it. We have Shiloh coming in and saying retarded. 2 days after a searcher dies, could it be that if you go according to Condor, you locate it, but you wait, you leave it, you wait, you go relocate to Puerto Rico, and then you go pick it up later. But in that time frame, you have a searcher die, and Forrest says, hey, what? Well, I'll let you guys fill in the gaps.
So a couple searchers have pointed out that Shiloh didn't use the word retarded. He said like dumb as a box of rocks or something like that. Somebody would have to go back and verify it. Again, I just want to make the record clear.
Okay.
So here's a mystery solved. If Jack did find it in April, then why did Forrest tell Dale later that year he wanted to end it? Good question, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
So then we know on June 6th, he recovered, and then that aged well. So, okay, wait, before I go on, Ben, did you want to make any comments to this?
I think the comments I want to make, you're going to make in the next couple slides. So I'll wait.
So, and I just want to make clear, we're giving you the posts from Jack/Condor on Reddit. We're giving you the timeline of how things transpired. We know 100% that timeline of where he went and with who is accurate. Now we're going to get into our opinions on why some of those things may be. Would you agree with that assessment, K-Pro?
Yes. So everything up to this point has been factual except for the, and I did make an error on our last week. The 7 to 9 mile was actually somebody else, and then they responded. So that wasn't Jack. So every once in a while I make these, I will take that out. So the Shiloh piece is out. Okay.
And again, guys, we are prone to mistakes. We're not perfect. Yeah. And we're not lawyers.
Okay. So now we've gone from.
For Hooli. Forrest called Jack Bill. Willie is Bill. Jack is a slow dog. I would say we're about to get here, but maybe Jack was the slow lead dog.
And why? What is he?
So this next part is totally our opinion, not based on anything, but go to the next slide. This is where Ben and I
Here
have
we go.
spent many an hours, and Mike, where it's like, okay, so for Jack, if you believe Jack is Condor, which I think almost everybody does,
Right.
Jack said he sent pictures to Forrest. He never mentioned that. He never mentioned that he actually said he was alone. He wasn't with someone. Did Jack take Condor's advice and move to Puerto Rico? What happened in Santa Fe in April of 2019? This is why Jack could leave the treasure chest at Walmart. He had somebody in the car. What this whole
good
thing.
point.
These
Good
are all the
point.
things that are coming out. Why more boots on the ground after 2019? If
Mhm.
we're going to get into some conspiracies, did Forrest actually write a scrapbook for Jack? Did Jack break the blaze to ensure that nobody would find it? And that's
Oh,
how can
hell
you
no.
leave it? How can you leave it in April of 2019 if you believe that's a possibility and come back and get it in June? These
Well,
are all the
we need to go over that because I don't think some people have put that together yet.
Okay.
That's even a possibility.
Okay, these are questions that
Right.
sat and brainstormed and had ideas and
Mhm.
went down rabbit holes. What do you think, Ben?
Well, I think what the flying into Colorado Springs, it's something that we also have verified. This is what Jack did.
Right.
Jack did this multiple times when he searched, not just April 2019, but we know that Jack has flown into Colorado Springs many times. So to people saying, maybe he had a one-time person in the car one time, no. So it's funny because throughout all this investigation, I didn't even put together, oh yeah, somebody else was in the car while he walked into Walmart. Duh.
Right.
Because my big thing was, I don't even care. I'm not leaving it in the trunk. No, I'm going to go. I'll starve myself. I don't care.
But he needed to hunker down in Santa Fe, and so that makes sense. And he had somebody in the car, so it wasn't dishonest saying.
And by the way, that person in the car. By the way, but one thing that we need to make clear also, because I don't think people can connect the dots yet, the person in the car is going with Jack from Wyoming down to Santa Fe in April. They don't stop in Colorado Springs. We know where they went, and they went straight to Santa Fe.
Right. Okay, so let's bring up a couple of theories. We're just going to walk through a couple of theories just so this is how my brain connects the dots. It is not, and Ben's and Mike's. We're just going to go down a couple of theories. This does not mean it's the right one. We want your ideas. We want to know what you think. Yeah.
We presented the facts. Now we're going to go into opinions on why we think those things transpired. Chasing Indy with the super chat says, new conspiracies. Your GPS source is linked to the auction site and knows who's behind it. And that's how he can link Jack to buying the new location. Buying the new location. I don't know what that means, Chasing Indy, but thank you for the super chat. We'll talk. Trust me, after this show, a lot of people, we may even have to do a marathon. You never know. There'll be so many discussion points, I think, at the end of this show.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple theories.
Right. Do you want me to start?
No.
Is that it for the PowerPoint?
No, PowerPoint, please.
Of course, that's not it for the PowerPoint. All right, let's talk about a couple theories. And thank you to K-Pro for laying it out because it's a lot easier when you do it like this. Okay.
So I'm going to present two theories. You guys present as many more as you want. But in both of these theories, Jack focused on the what if I found it in April 2019 while he was boots on the ground. Jack lashed out against Forrest on Reddit between April and December. Jack advises people on Reddit to move to Puerto Rico. I don't know if Jack took his own advice, but I do have to say, Jack did tell me, no, he did not move to Puerto Rico, but we did have an exchange. I said, you are aware it's on your background report. And he said he is aware of that, but he said he did not move there. But Condor told people to move there. I'm not going to I'm just stating the facts. Jack says Forrest published a scrapbook for the lead searcher of he's not going to take on the legal liabilities or if it goes a different way. Jack recovers the chest in 2020 and sends Forrest a formal email, like Condor says. There was a documented awkward meeting with Forrest and the lawyers. Jack needed to leave the treasure chest in Santa Fe and no other meetings happened. This is factual, but let's go to a theory, couple of theories based on this. So
here we go. We're crossing the bridge, everybody. Don't fall.
So the first theory is Jack actually found the treasure chest in April of 2019, but he didn't retrieve it. He immediately was concerned about what to do if he retrieved it, because that's what he started posting. He breaks the blaze, so then that ensures nobody is going to be able to find it. And Then he posts on Reddit that he's working through the legal and tax implication. And then he takes 2 more boots on the grounds to check on it. And then he goes and recovers it in June.
Of the next year, 2020.
Of the next year, 2020.
Let me say a couple things on that one. If Jack found it in April of 2019, he's in Yellowstone, he finds it. He's like, oh, I found it. Or whatever led him there. He figured the clues out. Maybe that's when he did his 2 weeks and he did his grid search. He knew the area. Maybe what he said is right. Forrest slipped up in an interview and I knew the area and I grid searched it for 2 weeks. But maybe this all happened back in April 2019. And maybe, just maybe, he does want to move to Puerto Rico and he's got to establish residency for 1 year. So he leaves the treasure chest where it is, because if he takes possession of it, it changes the taxes. But how do you leave Forrest Fenn's treasure chest in the spot where you found it and say, I'm not just going to come back tomorrow. I have to wait 1 year to establish residency in another territory, a U.S. territory, but in Puerto Rico. I mean, Ben, how could somebody do that? To me, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, what? But if somebody, how much money in taxes are we talking about? Are we talking potentially $500,000 if this 1 year in
28% tax bracket? Let's see, it goes for $2 million. That's a third. That'd be 620.
600K.
So call it $500,000.
Yeah.
So
a lot of money.
By Jack doing this, it's $500,000. I mean, it's $500,000. Most people don't see that in their lives.
Especially guys, millennials. Yeah. Okay, the first thing I laughed about in the Medium article was he has student loan debt. Jack, you're a political poster. You're very savvy. You understand politics. Student loan is getting canceled at some point, and nobody's freaking paying it. So, no, you're not paying off your student loan, as evidenced by the fact you haven't sold the chest. So that wasn't a pressing issue.
But we've just hit the 1 year mark, short-term capital gains. That's why he's held on to it.
Right. So, $500,000 to a millennial. That. We're extravagant sometimes, but most of the time we're just trying to figure out how to live and not have to work that much. You guys, the generation before us, and not you guys, but like my parents who are in their 60s, it's work. Mm-hmm. My generation is, if I can not work and somehow live, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to do what y'all did for the last X amount of years because we'll do it better. So, Jack discussing the concept of moving to Puerto Rico to skirt taxes, and then Jack is in Puerto Rico, and then Jack freaks out that you guys broke that he's in Puerto Rico. He's not breaking a law. He's taking advantage of tax situations because Puerto Rico has been hit by hurricane after hurricane and have created tax implications for businesses or sole proprietors to move there and incorporate there. So Jack isn't breaking the law. He's not mad that you're saying he's done anything illegal here. What he's mad about is you can verify Puerto Rico with the condor. And if you verify the condor,
Right. So Lucky Digger's got a point. He says, I thought that Jack only started searching in 2018 and he searched 25 days over a 2 year period. Well, here's the thing. Where'd you get that from? Jack. And we know that Jack is not truthful. If you just go off of what Jack said, he's not telling us the complete truth. So let me continue on.
We've already established 3 lies in one little time period.
Yeah. So if Jack finds it in 2019, him and his search partner or whoever was in that car with him, stuck in Chaselandia with the super chat. April 2019, lots of snow. Couldn't have found it. But you know what? If he had GPS coordinates, he could have. I'll just say that out loud right now. That's just a theory. It's just a theory. But
I like it. I'm saying
go right to it.
The GPS comment. He made the GPS comment in April of 2019. So.
Right. So here's the deal. He finds it. Him and his friend or whoever it is that's with him, they drive right down to Santa Fe and they talk to Forrest. They're like, Forrest, we found this, but you didn't think of everything. What about the taxes? What about the legal ownership? If it is in Yellowstone, what about that issue? And Forrest is probably like, just take it. Don't worry about it. But Jack, maybe being a millennial, is like, are you crazy? I can't just take it. I'm going to save this money by, go ahead.
He's seeing this whole thing blow up right in front of his face. Just take the chest. I said it in the poem, man. Just take it.
Right.
And
I think there's an obvious difference of opinion. It does. I think there was one. I don't know if you read it tonight. It doesn't matter what Forrest thinks. It's what the IRS thinks and Yellowstone or the national park thinks. I think they had a differing of opinion. Let's go down a different rabbit hole, though. I'm going to just throw out both of my theories, and then I want to hear your guys's. Open that PowerPoint again.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a fantastic question. X marks the
What's
spot.
that?
Did Jack's partner move to Puerto Rico to establish residency?
Ah,
I don't know that, but okay, next slide. So here's another.
Hold on. Here's a question. Here's a question that I may or may not know the answer to, and you guys may or may not know the answer to. Was Jack's partner there with him if he went there in June 2020?
I don't know the answer.
Or did he go alone this one specific time? I'm just asking.
Yeah, and did he go alone because he didn't want the partner to have to deal with tax? He's like, I'll give you the cash after it's sold.
Did he just go in? No, we know he went into Colorado Springs.
That's the problem, Kate. I was just asking, how did we know he went to Colorado Springs? So, again, guys, pull up a map. Go look at where you fly in. First of all, if you're going to fly to Yellowstone, we know the obvious spots, Bozeman and whatnot. If you're going to drive to Yellowstone, like I drove from California, I thought it'd be a fun idea. I never even thought of flying into Yellowstone. Driving there seemed fun. But Jack is flying to Colorado Springs. If you fly into Denver, it actually shortens the trip driving to Wyoming by 4 hours. Flying to Colorado Springs adds so much time to your trip, and he's doing it every time. Yeah. Obviously, because he wants someone there with him.
Our friend Sam with the super chat says, was the search partner of Jack's a male or a female? Because I think the partner took some pics.
We're not going to
know why. Yeah, I guess we're not going to say.
Okay, but here's the big thing for me. So let's go back to this. Forrest had my theory number 2, and then we'll jump into it. Forrest had significant pressure. If you remember that April set of dates, what was happening? So Jack was boots on the ground the day that Paco tried to break into his home again.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day, Jack is posting what happens if you find the treasure chest. I get a response when I send Forrest, or the best responses come when you send Forrest a picture, and then immediately drives down. So let's think about this. What if Forrest had significant pressure because of those particular dates? Mm-hmm. Jack went boots on the ground that same weekend. He was the closest. Forrest, Jack told me I gave him the correct home of Brown. Or no, Forrest told me that Jack gave him the correct home of Brown. I have that email from Forrest. Forrest needed someone to nudge. I don't have this from Forrest. I wish. Forrest says to Jack, he sends him an email and he goes, get down here to Santa Fe. He nudges him. Then Jack takes the info, and rather than just going directly back up and picking it up, he says, I need to wait. I need to make sure it's legal. I don't care what you think, Forrest. I only care what I think. And through my tax people, etc., he has to prepare to move or relocate and get ready. And he starts writing. Forrest left a shit show. I keep saying it, but I think that shows that he was battling with Forrest at that time. So did Forrest nudge him? Did he know in April 19th? April 19th, something happened. I won't say
to
exactly
the point that culminates almost to the point where it culminates 11 months later, where where Fenn says, quote unquote, Willie is retarded. And Willie is William, William is Bill, Bill is Billy. And what did Fenn call the finder to his family? Billy?
Billy. Yeah.
Interesting. And by the way, someone in chat, I think it was Trusted Living, said for a fact, yes, Shiloh did say that. So I don't know what Shiloh said now. But someone else said he did say that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
but here's the
either way,
thing.
it seems like a callback to that scrapbook.
That April set of dates, Paco, Jack was in Yellowstone and then directly went down to Santa Fe. And out of everything he shared in Dan's book and all of his Medium articles, he hasn't shared that at all. He hasn't shared that at all. I thought he gave us
all that's conveniently left out.
Yes.
Well,
and not just left out, but just like I was a searcher. I have an email from Jack himself. I emailed him a couple of times, and I never talked about solves with him.
What are you sending pictures of? He's saying
he's a liar.
A picture.
He's lying. He's not. I'm not going to call him a liar as a person. He's just lying about the chase.
Yeah, and he
may have good reasons. You know what I mean? Right. I don't fault the guy for doing what he's doing. He has good reasons. Right. And Albert points out it's not proof Jack found the chest in April 2019. That's true. We do not have proof.
Right. That's why we're in the chest. That's why we're in the theory portion only.
And part of that theory portion is he flew into Colorado Springs and drove north and then drove south to Santa Fe. It's just it's not normal. I don't say he went to Santa Fe
Not
to go to
logical.
Collected Bookworks and get the book. That's nonsense.
Okay, hold on for a second. I want to read
William,
one.
Indiana.
Hillbilly Hound says, why would he need the New Mexico tourism video in April 2019 if he already found the chest? He left the day after he got the
Yes.
video, even though he
The
said
day
he got
after.
it the day after. He got
Or is that the slip up? Is that video the slip up? That's the question, right?
a logical.
All I know
treasure
is the man
hunter.
left the East Coast and headed west the day after he got the FOIA that he lied about.
We're giving you the timeline, everybody, of how things went down. And now we're giving a theory, an opinion on why these things happened. But let's get back to if Jack did find the treasure chest in April 2019 and decides I got to go to Puerto Rico to save $500,000 and I can't remove this chest for a year. A lot of people said, if I find it, I'm going to bury it somewhere else and then come back. Well, if you that's taking possession of it, he can't actually remove it, and he can't remove any of the items. He can't take one gold piece, or he can't just take the olive jar with the autobiography. He's got to leave everything exactly as it is, right? But what do? You dismantle the blaze so nobody else can come behind you and find it. This is just my opinion, everybody. But when Jack says, the blaze is damaged, it's crazy. If I find this, I'm going to leave it. I got to change the clues so nobody else can find it. What's
a good quote to refer to as Fenn? Maybe a force of nature. Is Forrest Fenn a force of nature? So maybe a human being is a force of nature.
Oh, gotcha. And we asked, was it overtime or sudden? And he said sudden. It just happened.
It would be sudden when a human being does something.
Right.
Well, if you are leaving literally for a year, and I don't think he meant to leave for a year, then COVID hit, then Yellowstone shut down, never could have seen that coming. When you start thinking of that, did he do something? But here's a great question, because Holy, I had this in my mind too, and we brainstormed this. Was it possible he was just picking up a hard copy of the video? In my experience, because I FOIA'd the exact same video, this invention called a drop box.
Yeah.
They drop box.
No. He's not driving to Santa Fe for 14 hours. No. Guys, at this point, it's 2019 at this point in time. Let's catch up. No one is doing that.
It's all conspiracy theory bridge. It's the biggest bridge we've ever gone over, that somebody could actually find Forrest Fenn's treasure chest and leave it for an entire year and then come back and retrieve it. It's just, it boggles the mind, but it makes sense to me why he would have done it the way he did.
If we don't have the same person posting about what to do if you find the chest, and I would just leave it there, maybe I'm not questioning as much, but that starts these questions, and then that leads to investigations. And I hear the terms thrown out all the time: investigation, research, knocking on door, whatever. We did that, and we found our information.
Well, here's the other issue with this scenario, this theory. Forrest Fenn knows in April of 2019 that somebody found his treasure chest, but he doesn't announce it to the community. Why doesn't he announce it, Capro?
Because it's not
Forrest Fenn. Why doesn't he tell somebody found it? Why can't he announce somebody's found it? If Jack, in fact,
he's only found it and not retrieved it.
Because it hasn't been retrieved. And Forrest has always said, you got to retrieve it. Yeah, because it's still out there for somebody else to find. Now, whether Jack changed some clues around where it was findable, he's not going to tell Forrest that. You know what I mean? So Forrest is stuck in a rock and a hard place, and he's like, so I know somebody. I don't think Forrest ever thought of this possibility. A searcher could find it and say, but I'm not going to retrieve it. I'm going to leave it there. So somebody else could have found it in that year time from April 2019 to June of 2020. It could have been found, but it wasn't. And why that is, we don't know.
Either way.
No, go ahead.
Either way, Fenn was having an issue with Jack. So whether it's Jack retrieved it in April of 2019 or Jack got super close in April of 2019 and he lied about when he saw the fake blaze, and maybe he saw the fake blaze in April of 2019, and that sparked him to finally reach out to Forrest Fenn. And in that communication with Forrest Fenn, he tells him the home of Brown and that he found a fake blaze, and he doesn't get what's going on. And he found his slip up, let's just say, blah, blah, blah. Maybe with the Paco situation happening at the exact same time, Forrest Fenn has received an email now that correctly states the proper home of Brown. There's an issue with a blaze. And also, he has family behind the scenes going, you need to end this thing. All that adds to, hey, someone finally sent me the correct home of Brown. You know what? I understand why you didn't find it. Come down to Santa Fe right now. End your search. Come down to Santa Fe. I want to talk with you. And then at that meeting, something happens. It might not be the exact location given to Jack, but maybe a nudge, maybe a picture of the blaze, maybe a GPS location. I don't know, but I would say
we don't know. What could it be? It sure does point
but
to.
But it seems like Forrest gets annoyed with Jack. So he's either annoyed with Jack not retrieving the chest, or he's annoyed with Jack not understanding. Come on, man! I gave where it is. What are you not seeing about this? So the whole concept, which is ironic, that Jack is talking smack about the idea of a mythical lead searcher, as Jack puts it. All of a sudden, Fenn at the very end does use the scrapbooks and talk to a lead searcher.
Right. And we know he did that. He's talked to people through the scrapbooks. I totally believe that.
Why would Forrest use the word retarded unless he's researched this person that he's talking to?
And I'm going to just say, this is totally my opinion. Why did he not congratulate Jack? Could it be, one, they went through this hell together, and two, he did have some indiscretions that Forrest and him were on very different opposites when it comes to politics. And he talked about
either way,
disabled child.
So
either way, we know the end result is the bull SHT story of Fenn and Jack not being able to meet a second time, and Jack wasn't able just to get back there and ask those follow-up questions. Now we understand.
Now we know why.
Either theory, for what we know for a fact, is based on the reality that Forrest Fenn was either annoyed or fed up with Jack Stoof. And that explains why the two never met again.
Yeah. Forrest probably never thought somebody would find it and not retrieve it. I mean, that probably never entered his mind. Take it. You found it. Take it. And now,
it does seem like a lot of things haven't entered his mind.
And so here's a couple things. Mystery Solved says, if Jack would lie about all this, why not recover the chest and just lie about that? Well, because lying to searchers in the community doesn't put you in jail, but lying to the IRS does. And if it was to come out, he's, you know what I mean? If he's not going to tell anybody he retrieved it and pay taxes on it, you can get in trouble. Go ahead, Kate.
Well, and also think about how many searchers, let's just say it was found at, Ben's area, the 9 Mile Hole area, Rudy's area, everybody's area right now. And there was a searcher with a random picture, and it was the picture of where the hole was, and they did soil analysis and figured, and now he's in trouble because he hasn't gone back. I think now Holly brought up a good point. She said, but Shiloh could have gone back and retrieved it. Maybe he moved it and he just doesn't want to admit it. How does Jack leave it even for a night, but let alone a year? If we're just going by Condor's recommendation, find it, leave it, get residency in Puerto Rico. Condor said this, not me.
Right.
Condor. Right. And Condor said, then go back for it. How can you go back for it and make sure it's not going to be retrieved? Oh, and by the way, I had an immediate detour straight down to Santa Fe that maybe there was a discussion there that went over that. I don't know what that means.
We did get the super chat from Chasing Indian. Thank you for sending it again. She wants to know, Ben, why hell's half acre? I know for a fact that the GPS source found proof Fenn had property in Colorado Springs, Wyoming. I think the GPS source was in the car or owned the car.
What do you say to that, Mike?
I didn't know about the Colorado Springs, Wyoming property. I didn't either. Know that about it at all. So Candy knows more than we do, apparently.
I've heard bits and pieces of that, but I will say, can you put the question up again so I make sure I answer properly?
Yeah. Why? There you go. Why hell's half acre? Yeah.
Okay, so essentially, why hell's half acre? Because the sources that we have confirm to me, and K-Pro and Mike have seen these sources, that we know for a fact it was. Why was not revealed to me.
Yeah, so this is actually a good point. We don't want to overstate anything we have. That's why this last portion is theory. Why did he go to Santa Fe? Who specifically did he meet and talk with is unknown right now. We can theorize about it, but we know it happened. Do we know that he went to Hell's Half Acre? Yes. Do we know he went into Colorado Springs? Yes. Do we know that that was the car? Do we know the individuals involved and they were in the car? Yes. I should say individual. All of those things are known. We don't want to overstate and say, and this is why we know he went to Hell's Half Acre. Why? He could have called Forrest and Forrest said, it's at Hell's Half Acre. And he goes out there. I don't know. Those are the things. And that's why I want to be, a lot of people emailed me and said, I've seen you been burned before. Be very clear of what's factual and then what you're theorizing. I am theorizing that Jack had a battle and a war with Forrest. There's some data that makes me think that when I look at these Condor posts, but do I know that for a fact? No. But there's a lot of evidence that says that to me. That's my interpretation. So anyway.
So I'm going to ask the question that somebody asked earlier in the show, and that was, if Jack found the treasure chest in April 2019 and told Forrest, why then does Forrest email Dale in December of 2019 and say, I'm thinking of ending the chase?
So that's one of the theories. One of the theories is he tells Jack, he nudges him, and he thinks Jack's going to go right back up. And what does Jack do? He goes, I'll get back to you.
And let's keep in mind time frames here. The email to Dale is in what month of 2019? December?
December. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go on a limb and assume that Forrest Fenn thought about what he was sending to Dale for quite some time before he sent it to Dale.
Right.
Just because he's sending it to Dale in 2019 of December doesn't mean that's when it was decided maybe this should happen. That's when he decided to tell Dale about it. Fenn seems like he likes to keep things to the chest. So for all I know, Forrest Fenn was thinking about ending the chase as of 2018, and he just decided to email Dale in 2019. I don't know. But what I do know is, fine, that timeline still works. Fenn's deciding to be a little bit more public about his thoughts to end the chase in 2019 because shit. I finally did it. Darn it.
Laundry time.
Ashley, I'm
darn
it.
Doing laundry. And if he would just make it into a video, that'd be great, Ashley. I think we should see Ben doing the laundry. How about this? That's a good point that you brought up. But how about this? Jack finds it 2019, tells Forrest and says, I'm not going to retrieve it for a year. Forrest is going back and forth on, this is crazy. How can this not be retrieved? What if he actually thought of ending it and telling everybody, hey, it's over because of the issues with his family, etc., because he knows Jack is going to go get it at some point in the future? What if he just wants to end it?
That's an interesting concept, especially if you're worried about deaths.
Right, exactly.
But let's think about this. Why is Forrest's hand forced, it seems? Why couldn't he, exactly what Holy said, why couldn't he just have told Shiloh then? Jack would have had to move it for Forrest to be completely hamstrung by Jack. Right?
I agree. I think Marty Bird said visiting Santa Fe doesn't mean much. I would say visiting Santa Fe in a vacuum doesn't mean much.
Right.
Visiting Santa Fe in the circumstances in which this went down does mean much. And again, we're not able to share more than we're allowed to. Getting into reasonings or anything like that, but we do know he was there and it was inconvenient.
Well, let me chime in here. USA China. Hi, Sam. Why are you guys not stating who was in the car with Jack? Think about what Jack's family is going through right now. Not only do we not have permission from the source, let's think about what Jack's family is going through right now. If we revealed, here is the person, you know there's people that will be at his door. He will probably get death threats. He'll probably get all of those things. I'm not going to do that to even if we had permission from the source, I would not be putting that information out because it's unfair. Because we have bad human predators in this world. I will digress.
Well, Jack outed himself. Yes, it was due to a lawsuit, whatever. We can talk about Jack because Jack came out and said, hey, I'm the one who found it. Anybody else who may be involved, they have not come out, and that's their choice. We would never reveal who they are. Chasing Indy with the super chat says, how are you guys not connecting this to the auction site? First source equals the ultimate source. Please look deeper into it. There's so much there. What auction site? I don't understand, Candy. What are you talking?
The auction site. She has a relevant point. The auction site was called forestfenntreasure.com. And I'm going to give a 2-minute recap.
Okay, now I get it. Got it.
It went live in February of 2020. It happened to be owned by a searcher beforehand in 2018, and I guess he just gave up on it.
Okay.
It was sold. It was then put back on the internet in February 2020, and it claimed that the chest had been found August of 2019, and that the finders, plural, weren't comfortable with the legalities that came with finding the chest, and they want to sell the location. This goes on for a couple months, and then in May of they're saying they're taking private bids. The minimum bid is $2 million. It's all put in escrow. A lot of people said the website's a scam. I understand that. The website framed everything for the buyer. You as the buyer can pick your lawyers can pick the escrow. The money sits in escrow until the chest is in your hand. That's how it was presented to anybody who wanted to bid on the location. A lot of people just said scam. Well, that doesn't read scam, because they're not going to take anyone's $2 million. And then we get into May of 2020, where they say, oh, no more bids. We've received an offer that exceeded our expectations. The winning bid does not want to follow through on our plans. And their plans were to just sell the gold coins and leave half the chest and create a new 4 stanzas and keep the chase going. The final bidder did not agree to those terms, but their bid was so exuberant that they had no choice but to accept it. They allowed for about 3 or 4 more days of a last-second bid to top it with somebody who wanted to extend the chase. That didn't happen. It was the bidding process was shut down, I think, May 23rd. The chest was announced found June 6th. So there's
I get it,
weird
Andy. That
things
is a
about
conspiracy theory. Yeah.
No, I'll give my answer, because 2 days ago or 3 days ago, Indy, you were down a different rabbit hole, a different person, a different theory. This presentation that Ben and Mike just built up tonight took 6 months. I can't pivot that quickly to do a thoughtful review, not just that's kind of interesting, let's do something. I try to be as thoughtful and organized as I can. That might make me behind a little bit. I actually think that's an interesting theory to discuss. It's going to take its own show, its own time. That's why I always say, put a show out that lays out the data. I could start doing that, but it's going to be a few weeks before I can get caught up to date. Okay.
Just for helping me get laundry done this week. I love you guys. We got to see it in a video, otherwise it never happened.
Nice.
Lonnie says, what's the matter with you people? Clearly 5-leaf blaze is the finder. Well, clearly we don't agree with you.
Clearly.
But I will say
clearly
this.
5-leaf blaze thinks he's the finder, and 5-leaf blaze has every right to think that.
That's right. I agree.
I think 5-leaf blaze came across to me much. I understood where he's coming from once we were able to finally talk on this whole Zoom thing and YouTube thing. When I was on Thor, it was a little more testy. But look, 5-leaf believes in what he believes in. He's very, very set on it, and so are a lot of searchers. Still.
Well, it's funny because I think on the forums, anything that's behind the keyboard, we have keyboard warriors. Once you start talking to people, you kind of go, "Oh, I get it." Like you're just passionate about but. I mean, I always add a little, like I added a
Which is why I think if Jack would just come on and talk and tell us the actual story, people would love him.
That would do it. We'd let you do this if we wouldn't interrupt you. Well, I would, but with the soundboard.
I might.
But Candy, that's not at all what K-Pro said. I will say this. Christy and now Ben, they put a lot of time and effort into these PowerPoints to get the information out and getting a lot of independent verification before they put these things out as fact. Okay. So it's not, we can all have opinions and we can do a conspiracy theory show like we have, but we try not to go live and just go off the top of our head. We try and get some bullet points and try and put these things so that other people can understand the path that's led us there.
So I can see the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint would be amazing. Indy was actually earlier today reading me some of this when we were on the phone. It would be a perfect PowerPoint. Here are perfect points of exactly what happened. And now it points to a Wyoming attorney. And now this and now that. It is a perfect data-driven rabbit hole to go down. Tonight, when you say, why are you ignoring it? Because I've been focusing on this. And this is what Ben and I were trying to tell you. This doesn't negate yours.
Right.
It just doesn't overlap with it. Yeah. So why didn't we discuss it tonight? Because there was a couple of other things I wanted presented tonight. And I do want to, I know this was way back, but we've been losing some people in the chat. Somebody said, can you talk more about the Bullwinkle's video camera, what that was about? Can you talk? I can talk about a lot of things, and maybe that's what we need to do is hit the pause button and have our next show just discussing questions that linger from the last few shows, because this is a lot to digest.
And I would say, I think the first, and I'm not trying to tell people what to think here, but I think the first gut reaction here should be,
Thank you, Kate.
Everything
right.
might be back on the table here. I don't know what's on the table, but we need to start reevaluating. So some people are going to feel justified. Some people are going to be like, well, what does all this mean? Some people are going to be like, you're not sharing everything. I think the premise and point of this is it's time to rethink the original story. The original story, as we've been told it, is a lie. What the real story is, I don't know. I know some things we still can't share yet. But what we did share is based on something that we know 100%, and we know 100% it's a lie. So Jack has one of two choices: come out and tell us the truth, deny this. Good luck, man, because we've held back for a reason. So if you try to deny it, we can prove it. But we need to figure out what's going on. And I think things like the website are back in play. This doesn't negate the website. It doesn't prove the website, but it doesn't negate.
Okay, but here's the thing. I'm going to go totally off. Oh, he's really excited. Okay, there. Mine froze up.
Oh,
okay. Mine froze up. It was like this. So, but here's the thing. I wish I had Indy's skills. I only have PowerPoint skills because of my business background. She could make a presentation that makes mine look ridiculous. If you put together that and then first talked about that the first half an hour and then gone 5, 6, 7 hours of talk and conjecture after. But building that, I think, is really important, is building that so everybody can follow along. Some of you are going, what website? What happened? Building that first, I think, is really important. And that's why I think right now we are in conspiracy theory land. A lot of people are going to watch over the next couple of days and only be interested in that front part because that's factual. And they think this is all stupid and crazy after, but they're going to consider what was actually said by Jack. That timeline, Paco was at his house breaking in. The next day he was arrested. The next day, Jack heads down to Santa Fe and writes about what happens if you find the Forrest Fenn treasure. Not a little tiny posting, a long posting. There is a there, if I was ever to say it.
So let's go to theory number 2, which I don't know if we fully explored it. Let me bring this back up. And I think we kind of did, but yeah. You want me to read it or do you want to go through it, K-Pro?
No, you go.
Okay, theory number 2 is that Forrest had significant pressure to call off the hunt by his family. This is the week Paco tried breaking into Forrest's home and got arrested. Jack went boots on the ground the same weekend and emailed Forrest with his solve with pictures. He was close. He was in the area. Maybe he did know the general vicinity, as he says. Jack gives Forrest the correct home of Brown. K-Pro confirmed in an email from Forrest. I don't know if that's breaking news before. If not, it is now. So, K-Pro, you have confirmation from Forrest that Jack did have the correct home of Brown.
Yeah, so let me say it this way. I said, because it was in the forums, that Jack did not give him the correct home of Brown. He brute forced it or whatever. I emailed Forrest. I'll show the email eventually when I can find it and put it up. Yep. I said, so Jack didn't even give you the correct home of Brown? And his answer was something like, this was a while ago, guys. It was something like, but Jack did give me the correct home of Brown.
Gotcha.
And it was okay. So that's breaking news just because of that. And I put it up on Thor at the time, and there was so much happening.
Intoofriches.com, everybody. Okay, so Jack, Forrest needs someone to nudge because Forrest needs to end this thing. So Forrest told Jack, get down here to Santa Fe immediately, nudge gate, as we call it. Jack took the info and decided from Forrest. He took the info from Forrest. He took the nudge. But he decided to pause until he worked through the legal and tax implications, and Forrest and Jack are in battle for the next 14 months. Now, I don't know what you mean by battle, but it could be that Forrest was not happy. He wanted it to end. Jack decides, I need to make residency in Puerto Rico. I'm not going to end it. COVID-19 happens. I'm sure Jack planned on going back 1 year later. He's got to wait until June when the park opens due to COVID, and we have the result that we did. So that is conspiracy theory bridge number 2. It kind of plays out the same way. It's just that Jack was nudged. He didn't find it on his own. I know a lot of people are in that camp, but.
Well, and if you think about it, is there data that helps say that that's the case? We have Jack saying, this is a shit show. We have Forrest saying, Willie's retarded. We have him putting out Scrapbook 218 saying, I'm not legally liable. Now, that one's a stretch to me, but it was discussed so much on Reddit, which is Jack referred to this scrapbook saying, why did you go to an attorney and wait so long to tell a lead searcher? And he kind of now is talking to himself, if you will. There seems to be some is it 100% No, this is just
Mm-hmm.
conjecture portion of the show.
And
But
Mark Williams asked, so he couldn't nudge him by email or phone?
Right.
No.
That's a good one.
no,
No.
Evidence.
Why would you
K-Pro,
ever do that by email or phone
Right.
when someone could
There's
record
evidence.
you or email? They
Right.
could, yeah, no.
And
Hell
Christy,
no. I would call him and go, you told me correct Homer Brown, come down to Santa Fe. And me as Jack or anybody, any searcher would go, oh, Forrest just invited me to the house because I correctly identified Homer Brown. Damn right I'm going to Santa Fe right now.
Has Forrest ever told you I want to tell you something, but it has to be in person? It won't be over the phone or over email.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the type of thing Forrest
And
would
I
do.
have flown out very quickly when he
Mhm.
said that.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So that is theory number 2. Are there more to the PowerPoint?
I don't think
Let's
so, but go
find
back to
out.
it just in case I've forgotten.
Together.
While you do that, someone else asked a good question. It was like believe. It was another believe.
Or to be continued.
I can't remember where it went.
Good PowerPoint,
somebody
K-Pro. Everybody thumbs up for
That was a
K-Pro's
thumbs up on the PowerPoint.
Yeah. 2 thumbs up. We're at 50 thumbs up. We should at least be at 100.
We had 370 in the room. Where are you thumbs uppers? Well, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that I want you guys to do, please. I want you to think about when you're saying absolutely not, say absolutely not to the theories and the conjecture.
Right.
The first, hour of this show, hour and a half, we're reading Condor, which I believe is Jack. And that slide about Paco, that's factual data. Now, the sources you may or may not, based on your information, but look, we have a picture of a car. Has Temple
Thank
University.
you,
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn. Condor is Jack. Jack is Condor. At least that's what many people on Reddit believe, and I think those people on Reddit are the experts. I'm just glad that when we went to break it on the show, only with the posts that we were given the okay to show, that finally the database was released. And I'm not saying it's because we were going to break it, but I think it was. I mean, I just however the timing worked out, I'm just glad it got released. So,
but you know what really was great about that?
To make their own decision.
The person that had the database got the credit. I think a lot of times if I break it first, people will say, "Oh, it was such and such." But do you remember on K-Pro? I didn't have the database. I didn't have all of the database until what you guys have. I had a few snippets, a few more than that's all I had. It wouldn't have. This would not be happening without Rim. I call him Rimsbrock or whatever his name is. I don't know his real name, but that's the handle. This would not be happening without the Rimsbrock and those other sources. The sources are the ones that are helping us through this. I didn't have that picture of that car. I wasn't in West Yellowstone sitting there taking a picture. That was,
Okay. Must Listen Good says, Ben Napple, can you list the lies you think Jack has told? We went over some of them, and I don't know if you can count them off real quick, but what do you think that Jack has lied about?
Jack lied about searching alone. Jack lied about when he got the FOIA. And Jack lied by omission that he didn't go down to Santa Fe. Now, that could be misconstrued as a lie, or he just went down for his favorite meal in Santa Fe. And so why is that a lie? It's a lie in the relevancy of explaining the chase as the finder. He left that out for a reason. So that's 3 lies to me.
And again,
I've caught him in lies from my emails. In one of my emails, he tells me to lie to my kids. Lying is not an issue with Jack Stu.
But again, I will say this, I'm not standing up for Jack, but maybe he's justified in these lies. Maybe he really wants to save that $500,000 in taxes, and that's not something you go, oh, you're crazy. All of us would want to pay $500,000 if we could.
Agreed, and let's take it one step further. What if Jack left something there and he still can't say it? I've been preaching that since day one.
There could be more story that'll come out later on. Yeah, for sure.
Since June 7th, I've been saying that. And so, there could be justifiable reasons for some of the lies, if not all of the lies. Maybe Jack knows he was nudged and doesn't really deserve it, likes to show off a little bit, but that's why he left something out there for someone to find because he felt bad. I mean, who knows? But Jack has chosen the route of a specific story that he has specifically lied about.
Well, Jack also said that he wasn't on social media. Dear God, my friend, you are
Shy guy.
It's nonsense.
Right.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Yeah. Oh, Rimsbrock is in here. He did not do it for the credit. You know what? I know you probably didn't. I don't know you well enough, so I'm not going to say he was not one of my sources. I will just say
Rims isn't
it is
someone that likes
great.
credit.
But the great part is, I don't care if you want it. I think it's great that no one will confuse it. I was only an opportunity, and I wasn't even working with Rims, to be the conduit of communication. And some people say, oh, that K-Pro information, that K-Pro, like GPS solve is K-Pros. No, it was Mike's. That was but only if it turns out to be the case. Do I want good? No, I'm just kidding. But wait, Shiloh also said,
Stuck in Chase. Hold on, I want to address one thing because it just popped. Stuck in Chaselandia said, no evidence he searched someone. Jack could have left the driver at the hotel and searched alone. Stuck in Chaselandia, from what I understand, and I know it to be fact, that's not what happened.
No. And there's additional information that we just gave one example. There's additional information that is not correct. It is correct to say he was searching, or when he was boots on the ground, there was another human being that owns that car with him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, this has been a very interesting information-packed show. Theory, fact, and opinion all kind of mixed together. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Wait,
I know we
I
have
have
a
one
treasure
other
hunt
thing
to
to
get
say.
to. Go ahead.
One other thing to say. Do you think the reason that Jack maybe can't show hotel receipts is because the hotel was not put in his name and it was in his search partner's name?
Oh, that's a good that's a conspiracy theory for sure.
It just came up with that. That might, because what everybody said, just show us something that you were in West Yellowstone. What if it's not in his name? And he doesn't want to out this other person because there's too many predators out there.
That's true. Here's because he never thought anybody would know somebody was with him. He never thought that would get out. Well, sorry, Jack. All we can say is, all we can say is,
I wish you weren't a liar.
There you go.
Hatchet Jack asked me, how confident are you that your source is correct/truthful? Let me answer it this way. I don't need to worry if my source is truthful. What my source has shown me.
I wish you weren't a liar.
Verified what my source is telling me. And
now,
we've all seen it.
Could they have doctored? Like, could that just be a picture of a pretend, like, staged?
No.
I mean, is it?
No. No.
It's not
because again, we're able to corroborate things with the evidence presented to us in the unredacted picture. There's a reason we have the picture with the information that we had so that we could verify the picture that we were getting. And it's amongst a plethora of other information.
Mystery Saul says in April 2019, the park was closed. How did he search?
It was open April 17th?
Right. From the information on the the Yellowstone National Park press release website, unless they have doctored that for Jack, it was like April 16th, 17th. Right. It was Jack got there 2 days after it opened.
It was open.
The
West Yellowstone was open.
Yes.
So here's a question.
We know we were in West Yellowstone. Our sources didn't say, oh, he came in from north, from Montana, or from northern Montana. No, we know for a fact he came, and lo and behold, West Yellowstone was open.
Right. Yeah. So here's one. I don't know if you guys can address it, but while you're taking questions, can someone address this background check leading to the conclusion that Jack changed his residency to Puerto Rico? It's a theory, but how credible is the data? Is this another one that you guys would say is 100%, or you just
100%?
You don't know?
I was a fan of you guys, remember, and I was hearing you guys talk about Puerto Rico and all that, and I was just going, Puerto Rico, huh? Weird. Like I didn't know what to make of it. But through this investigation,
you guys are just making up stuff to do a show, and so that's not the case. Yeah, we don't.
I didn't go that far in my head. I didn't go that far. I felt like someone was telling you Puerto Rico, and you believed them. But what I found, I didn't need someone to. I was shown. No, Puerto Rico is real.
Right.
Well, there it is. Okay, what else, K-Pro? You said
I'll do more questions if people have questions.
Okay, we can keep going.
You know what? Why don't we do this? Why don't we transition to a quick little contest that for $100? So you guys be around here for $100.
News, everybody.
And then those of you that want to stick, it's a new $10,000 treasure hunt. We're going to do this quick for a few minutes, but and then we'll take for those of you that want to linger behind, and we'll answer more questions after this because I
get
can
another
answer
drink
about Bullwinkles if you want,
and we'll keep going.
Another drink. I don't.
So in the link in the chat, I just put a link to an Instagram called Race for the Treasure, everybody. It's a brand new treasure hunt. You guys know Hillary. She was on our show. She her and her family gave us their LA treasure hunt story. This is a brand new treasure hunt coming out, and we're going to do a giveaway tonight.
Okay, so as Mike's getting his drink, I'll tee it up. So basically, $10,000 treasure hunt. This the reason that it's $100 from Target is Target is one of their sponsors because because this is going to benefit a foundation, the International Children's Art Foundation. So here's the cool thing.
Thumbs up.
And I'm going to have to bring up my Wikipedia because here is the so
Cool
it's this
part.
great treasure hunt, and Mike is going to read over the Instagram, but they have a celebrity who has given a hint, a secret hint to this treasure hunt. We are going to answer yes or no questions tonight in chat, and the first person to guess who it is, they are going to get the $100 from Target.
It's
So
a
if
well-known celebrity. You guys can answer questions where only me or K-Pro can say yes or no. It's first
Ben.
to figure out who this is, or Ben, of course. Ben knows, right? You know who it is, right, Ben?
Yes,
Yeah, I know.
but
Yeah,
that'll be helpful because I'm going to have a
Okay.
hard time. You say famous actor. I had to.
And again, tell them how they answer the question. Don't answer it in the live chat. You've got to answer it in the comments.
No,
after
answer it
this
in the
video.
live chat.
Oh, answer
We're
it in the
gonna
live
do.
chat.
We're
Okay.
going to do 5 minutes just on this video. After
Okay.
5 minutes, if nobody's answered it or nobody has solved it, we're going to take comments later, and the first person to put the comment in will get
Gotcha.
$100.
Let me show the Instagram real quick while we're doing this. Boom. It is. Instagram is the only place where you get the information. Race for the Treasure on Instagram. Give you all the details. $10,000 prize. You don't have to lie when you find it, unlike some other people. So somewhere in the U.S., everybody, and me and K-Pro are excited. I want to look into it. I want to check it out. Hillary, there she is in the chat. She put this together with her partner. Thank you very much for choosing the Cowlazars program to come on. We do appreciate it.
You wait. You guys need to ask some questions, and it's people are already guessing celebrities.
You can't guess it, everybody. Ask does anybody know how this game works? You ask a yes/no
He's in
question
The Rock.
and narrow down who this celebrity is.
Okay, so here's
Thanks,
an example.
Hillary.
Is the person a man? And
Yeah,
the answer
yes.
is
Yes.
yes.
And that would be a question you ask everybody. Okay.
Okay.
Hillary's
You just
saying you
gave
guys
one.
can guess this. Okay.
Okay. So
Hey,
go
Glenna,
ahead,
how are
room. Is the celebrity male? Yes.
Okay.
I have
There's
to
your
be-
first clue.
Is it an artist?
Is it Ben Stiller? No. If they just want to guess, it's the first person who guessed correctly. You get the $100. Is it gift card?
Is
to
the
Target?
person over? Yes. Is the person over 40?
Well, look it up.
Hold on.
I
I need
would
to look
guess
it up.
no, but I don't know offhand.
Hold on. I need to.
No.
They are not over 40. Bobby D says, are they a professional singer? That would be a no.
No.
Is it Jack?
Is it a
no. Is it Jack?
Is it The Rock?
Limit the
No.
questions, or is it just 5 minutes?
We're gonna go 5 minutes. Be as
Is he an
creative.
actor? Yes.
Yes.
Jack. He is an actor. Darn it.
Is it Suzanne Summers? No.
Yeah, well, but yeah, that would be no. Hang on. Nobody blocked you, Wami. We can see your chat. Okay.
Well, we can see you, Wami. Is the person connected to treasure hunting? I don't think so. No.
I don't
say
think
no.
so.
By their
Well, now he is because he's part of this little $10,000 treasure hunt.
Well, as of today, he will be John Travolta, Isaac, Bobby, Ken Hart, Seth Rogen.
It is not Mr. Beast, but good guess.
I don't know anyone under
It's
40.
not Ben
Ask
Stiller.
her, are they an athlete? No.
Randy
I
says,
would
is he in a sitcom?
No.
No. I don't.
Wait,
If he is, that's not what
At
he
least that's not what he's.
Right.
I don't believe he is.
Let me
Is
look
this
it up.
person an actor? Yes. I'm looking at his Wikipedia, and it has him.
$100 Target card for the person who gets.
Okay, hold on. He was in a show.
He
He was in a
was,
show a very
yeah.
long time ago.
Right.
Is it?
But
is
like,
he
it's
a
not what he's
Disney
famous
star?
for.
Is he a Disney
Right.
star? Jesus Christ, I don't.
No.
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 Mm.
No, it's okay. Is he known for smoking weed?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know. Yeah,
No,
Ben,
no,
we're gonna give you that question.
That'd be awesome if it was
that's the-
Nicolas Cage, but no. Do they
Let's
act
see.
in movies? Yes, full press. They do act
Yeah.
in movies.
Ooh,
Has this
does-
person won a major award?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh wait,
Yes.
they were at least nominated.
They were nominated.
No, they were nominated. They have okay. If you call a major award like an Oscar or a Golden Globe or an Emmy,
nomination.
no.
Nomination. No.
But they may have been nominated.
Yeah,
okay.
they were nominated. Does the person have black hair?
Is it Ben Apple?
Ah!
That's a good one. Okay, so
Does he
far
have
all
black
the guesses
hair?
are wrong.
Black hair, no.
Does the person live in
No.
California? Somebody look that up. I mean Hollywood, but probably. I don't know.
Probably.
Super chat, Sapient No Bad is going back to the chase. Didn't Jack confirm in an email he visited a national park before heading to Santa Fe? This would confirm his trip to Hell's Half Acre in 2019. He did say that. Jack did say that in an email.
That was
a different trip. Yeah.
That was a different trip. But
that was a different trip.
do you
But it could
consider
have
Hell's
been.
Half Acre a national park? I wouldn't.
Right.
Oh, that could be when he found it, though. Okay. Wait,
are
we got to
they
focus on this.
TV or a movie star?
Movie.
More movie.
Not
Right,
Daniel
definitely.
Radcliffe.
Does he have hair? Yes.
Are they an A-list actor? How would you answer that? I mean, that's subjective, isn't
There's
it?
like a there's a big movie that I've even heard of, and I've even actually watched.
I would put him at A league, maybe B plus.
Yeah,
Okay.
Has the
Okay,
person ever been on Broadway? Ooh, there's a good question. I don't know the answer though. Do you
Well,
guys?
it says
I don't think so.
it says playwright.
Ashley says, do
No.
they have a current movie out now?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
Well, is that
Yes,
movie
or
still out?
Harder than we thought this was going to be.
Okay, wait. I got his filmography: 2017, 18, 19, 20, 20. Yes, of course he
Yeah, so
does.
there's something
Of
else.
course, yes. Is it Ben
All right.
Naples?
he's a
Yeah,
working
wait.
actor. He's a working A-lister, B pluser.
Are they a villain? Yes, they have played a villain.
Sometimes.
Oh,
Sometimes.
you're talking. I thought you meant on the big movie. I was gonna say
No,
he's
no.
not a villain.
Is the
dummy.
actor Asian? No. Is
he
it Shia
younger?
LaBeouf?
Corey
No.
Feldman.
Michael Cera? No. Is it Corey Hamer? Yeah, Corey Feldman? No.
Can I give a hint based off an answer? Since
Sure.
we're nearing the 5th minute.
Why not?
Okay.
Michael Cera is someone I confuse this person with.
Ooh, is he married? Can you look up if he's married or not?
Yes, he is.
He is married. Is it Matthew McConaughey? No. Chris Evans? Are they a
Does
comedian?
the person wear glasses? No,
I don't think they're a comedian. Would you say, Ben?
I don't think so.
Or
No, they're
You know,
not a
that's a-
comedian. Do they wear glasses?
Oh,
I don't think
Hillary's
so.
saying, should I start giving hints? No, let us give hints because some people might not see your Hillary,
All right.
yours in chat.
did they play in the Goonies?
we need a
No,
good
they were
hint.
not in the movie The Goonies.
Okay, let's each give a
Good
hint.
hint.
Okay.
I think the Michael Cera confusion is a good hint.
Is he over 6 feet tall? I don't think so.
Most
Did he play
actors
in
are
Guardians
under
of the Galaxy? No.
Okay, let's say.
Is
I
he
can-
alive?
you know
Yes,
what?
he is. Good one, Davio. Yes, he is
This-
alive.
Oh,
Good
somebody
hint.
got it! Somebody got it!
Wait, who got it? I'm looking. I'm
Oh,
way up
they're
in the
right
chat.
next to
Oh,
each
they
other.
did!
Stuck, Jen. Okay, who comes up first in your chat?
I'm
Oh, no,
looking.
First
it's
in my
Hatchet-
chat is
Hatchet
Jen.
No, it's 9:10.
Jen comes
Look
before
at
Hatchet Jack and mine.
Mine comes up way before.
What the heck? All right, wait. I don't see it. I've got the official chat.
9:10.
When you
Okay.
say
I got
at
Randy
9:10,
at 9:10. I got John at 9:10. I got Jen before John.
I'm
Whoa, whoa,
looking.
whoa, 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 whoa! I got stuck in Chaselandia first.
Hold on,
Stuck in
I'm going back up.
Chaselandia.
I'm looking. I didn't realize the chat would be so crazy. I still don't see it. I'm looking. So I've got Sam A at 9:10. Does anybody have anybody
Yep.
before Sam
Sam
A at
Sam
9:10?
A.
Sam A. He
Sam
has
A
a
at
he has a
9:10.
brown S.
Right there, at 9:10.
Oh, yeah,
Jesse
I have
Eisenberg
I
is
have-
Right.
wait,
Oh no!
Wait,
Silver
wait.
Fox.
Silver Fox.
Silver Fox. Oh, Silver Fox had it earlier. Yep. Sorry,
Let's see,
Sam.
Silver
does anybody
Fox.
else have it earlier? Does anybody?
Does anybody have it earlier than
Second.
9:10?
I
Silver
have
Fox.
Silver Fox as
No.
the first.
So
Silver
this is
Fox
awesome.
is the winner.
Think Silver Fox. Email me, cowlazars@gmail.com, and we will get you
Silver
that
Fox.
$100 gift card. Congratulations. But remember, everybody, this means Jesse Eisenberg, who played Lex Luthor in Superman, who played Mark Zuckerberg in the Facebook movie, is involved in this treasure hunt or a spokesperson.
Show the cover picture now.
Okay. Check it out, everybody. Yeah, good job, Silver Fox. Sorry I got it wrong for a second. Give me a second. Okay, I'm
Doesn't
supposed
that
to
kind of
go
remind you guys
here.
of Michael Cera?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
I don't know who that is, so that's why I was like,
So everybody go to Race for the Treasure on Instagram. Go to this is the one. Go to this picture of this little boy right here. And right here, this kind of explains what the book is about. Is that right, K-Pro?
yes,
Okay. It explains what the book is about. I'm going to read it.
the
Is that
treasure
right?
hunt. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it explains what the
Yeah,
treasure
okay.
hunt is
30
about.
seconds.
When Shy Xavier goes on a field trip to an art museum, all he wants to see is Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night. But suddenly, the museum's masterpieces go missing, and Xavier must come out of his shell to figure out where the paintings went, who took them, and why. This fun mystery delights as its whimsical rhymes and joyous pictures take the reader on a dazzling journey of discovery. Proudly featuring art from children around the world, this book is a treat for all ages. The cherry on top is a real-life treasure hunt hidden within the book's pages. Who will be the first to discover the real world location where a treasure awaits and claim the $10,000 prize? This treasure hunt benefits the International Child Art Foundation and proudly features art from child artists around the world. This Instagram is the only official place to receive updates on the treasure hunt. Please follow and stay tuned. There it is. Boom. Congratulations, Silver Fox. And thank you to Hillary for giving us the heads up on this treasure hunt. Definitely have to do a future show on it.
I
There it
already
is.
think
and
it's at a
now-
museum with a cherry at it.
But hold on a second. Now
bring
bring up the picture that I sent you.
Oh, right. Wami with another super chat. Hey, he old Sparks has got to know. I have no idea what that means. Okay, hang on.
Hey, ho ho.
Yeah,
Sparks
that's
has
right.
got to know. Hey.
Oh, you did send me a picture, didn't you? All right, give me a second.
That's what I thought you were bringing up. And then you started reading.
And I didn't download it because I didn't want to show it by accident, but I'm getting it right now. Give me a second. And then we're just going to take some more questions on Jan.
I've had 4 or 5 questions on the Bullwinkle surveillance cameras. I will give that, and the secret room that supposedly had Forrest Fenn information in it that we tried to break in. We tried to get someone to let us into, not break into. I said the wrong thing. Okay, go ahead.
Breaking news, everybody, for Xavier Marks and the Missing Masterpiece. Check it out. This has never been shared before. Xavier Marks and the Missing Masterpiece is a real life treasure hunt for 10 grand created by Hillary Ganga and Sean Cronin. You guys know Hillary. She's in our chat. She's been on our show. Secret Clue by Jesse Eisenberg. Written by Sean Cronin. Illustrated by Sarah Martin. And kids around the world. So that's awesome that Jesse Eisenberg's involved. He's putting out a secret clue. And there it is.
But think about this. Support treasure hunting. I don't know what the buy-in is. If you said it, I was grabbing a drink.
No,
buy-in
details yet.
Just because it goes to the International Children's Art Foundation.
Hey.
Just be a part of the community. We buy hunts.
All I'm saying is the Walker's Art Center in Minneapolis has a big old cherry at it. That's the first place I'm looking.
Where was Night at the Museum filmed? Ben Stiller. Yeah, this will be an interesting one for sure.
I can show you.
Artwork by kids. So are the clues in the artwork? This will be a fun one to get.
So get on Instagram because she's saying after the show there's going to be another puzzle for a prize on Insta, which I know means Instagram. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. I sure did.
April's getting hit.
I'm here all night. All
right. Instagram, Race for the Treasure, the only place to get official updates. Everybody, we got a super chat from Q. Here's to digital footprints and tubers that go after research like a dog with a bone. Cheers, y'all. Hey, thank you, Q. We appreciate that.
I don't know if that was good or a bad.
Okay, so Sledneck has asked this question a few times, and I've missed the opportunity to answer.
Okay.
Why did the photographer take a pic of that vehicle in particular?
I wouldn't say that.
My answer is the question you asked me. Why would that person take a picture?
Oh. I was going to say, I don't think we're at liberty to say that piece.
We're not.
Thanks,
just like
I'll be back. I got to get something to drink.
Okay. So here is the story, the Bullwinkle story. I'll tell both of them. So I had just crashed and burned from my first boots on the ground. I was with my brother. You guys now know. A lot of you met him at the wedding. And yes, he was a recluse, big mountain guy with a big old Colorado beard. And he didn't socialize very long with many people because he is kind of the stereotypical, kind of not social, big grizzly guy. He gold pans. He's like, anyway. We came in from boots on the ground, and Forrest had asked me, like, I want you to check in with me when you're back. And I checked in, and of course I said, like, this sucks. You don't really have a treasure. I went through my stages of grief, and he's like, where are you at right now? And I was staying at the Dude, and he's like, walk over to Bullwinkle's. And I'm like, okay. So, and I'm like, but I'm mad. And then he's like, no, you'll feel better. I have something fun, something like that. And I said, okay. So I said, will you go? And he's like, no. He's like, he was even more pissed. He wanted, this was all about, he hated the social stuff. He didn't care that I talked to Forrest, any of that. So I said, please go with me. Please go with me. He said, okay. So we went, we sat down. He goes, make sure to sit down on the bar side. So I sat down at the bar side, and he said, show this to, I had my phone. He said, show this to, well, he said, first he asked me to ask for someone, and I forgot her name, but she ended up being the owner. And he's like, well, who's working the bar? And I said, what's your name? And she told me her name. I don't remember what it was. And he said, tell her to turn on the camera. And he said, but you have to show her this. And I was like, okay. So I said, hey, Cindy, come over. And I turned, or Jen, or whatever her name was. And I turned, I showed it, and she goes, Forrest Fenn, treasure hunter? And I said, yeah. And she goes, okay. And she said, tell him yes. And so she said yes. He goes, this is going to be fun. And he goes, wave. And she went in the back somewhere, and then she came up to the front, and she's like right up there. And there was one of those, like, in the casino half dome cameras. And she's like, he always tells him to wave. And I'm like,
wave at the eye in the sky.
Yeah. I was like, oh, wow. I was actually like, this is so cool. He's like, yeah, they use it for surveillance at night for the bar or whatever. He's like, and so I started just having a grand old time. We were like, I was making fun of him. I'm like, I did do this. I may have given him an appropriate finger, because I'm like, I didn't find it today. And he was like, I saw that. And we went back and forth for a while. And then I turned, and she's like, Forrest Fenn, treasure hunter? I'm like, yeah. She's like, Chip is right back there. Chip's my like stepdad or uncle. I don't remember what. And I had read about Chip. So I was like, oh, and my brother turns and goes, you can't help yourself. Go buy him around. And he was there with his crew. And I went over and I said, can I buy everybody a round of drinks? And they all looked at me, and I said, I'm a Forrest Fenn treasure hunter. And all of them started laughing, and they were like, Bud Light, Coors Light, Bud Light, Bud Light. And then there was Chip. He's like, I'll take a water. And he doesn't drink. And I said, okay. And he goes, but thank you for my crew. They had just got a roofer. I don't remember, somewhere in construction, trades people. And he goes, I take my crew. He goes, I'm getting some dinner for my wife. I only have a few minutes. He goes, but thank you. There was like 8 or 10 of them. I bought them around, and I went and sat, and him and I and my brother talked for 4 hours.
Mystery guest.
Yeah, for 4 hours, and at maybe 3, but his wife kept calling, and finally the daughter-in-law or niece, not nephew, said, she's going to divorce you. That's her dinner. It's probably bad by now, because it was literally like 3 hours later. He had so many good stories, genuine person. He talked about saving people. He talked about, it was just hilarious. And he gave me his card. He was more impressed with my brother. They had more in common, I think. They both talked about their backgrounds, all that. But he's like, you both can have my card. If you're ever back up here, I'd love to have dinner, that sort of thing. So that's but Forrest was watching us, like, talk. I'm like, I'm getting the secrets. And I told him the story. He's like, oh, you actually know Forrest? And I was like, yeah, I've talked to him. By that point, I hadn't met him ever. I'm like, I'm just a searcher. I'm just one of the many people that, like, oh, I email him and say hi. There's my story.
I'll just point out that even back then, before K-Pro ever even met Forrest, she's talking to people. The investigative hat was on. Kolchak, the Night Stalker. She was out there getting the information, talking to people. So
okay, so that's
my.
And you, Ben, met the owners of the second best pizza in town place, and they had talked to Chip that doesn't believe it's found, right?
Right. They were adamant that something else is still up. I mean, honestly, they sounded like people who, were just mad that they didn't find it. But they were adamant that it's still out there.
Well, Chip told me I haven't seen him in a few years, but when I do see him, da da da. So I will say, we went in for the finale, and I asked them to turn on the camera for Forrest, and the camera, because he asked me, and the cameras had been disconnected or whatever. They said there was like something, they no longer had the cameras connected anymore. So I don't know when that happened. So my trip was
Cameras
20
connected at the Buffalo bar.
at the bar. So they had
I asked the same question.
nice. So that was 2016 when I went boots on the ground first in Yellowstone. So my other Bullwinkle story is we were talking to one of the bartenders, and he was like, "Do you want?" It wasn't that trip. It was actually an event. God, I don't remember who it was. Was it Copper Day? I don't know. Some of the guys. And he's like, "Do you want to go see our Forrest Fenn room? He like stores a bunch of his stuff here." And we're like, "Yes." Well, then the owner came in. He's like, "No, the owner will never let you. We'd get in trouble." Well, we tried to slip him $100 bill. He just would not let us in. It did not happen. So then during the finale, do you remember the redheaded? Oh, you weren't at the finale. The redheaded guy, I forgot his name, but he served all of us. Oh my God. And we were like, "We know of the room. Can you get us in the room?" And he's like, "I don't know what room you mean." And we're like, "Yes, you do. You know of the room." And he's like, so he went and he talked to somebody. He came back and he's like, all that stuff was moved to the upstairs behind surveillance. There's a camera there. And like, if you try to open it, it notifies the owner. And I'm like, okay, so how much is it worth to you? And we were so like, he's like, "No, I don't want to lose my job." I'm like, he was like the assistant manager or something by then. And he's like, "There's no way." And I'm like, okay, every time he came out, it became a running joke. We're like, "So what if you just gave us," there was like a code or the key or whatever it was, I don't remember. I'm like, "What if we just went in and we took the blame? It's just our blame. We just want to see it. We won't take any of it." I'm like, "Do you know what it is?" He's like, "No, I just heard it's Forrest Fenn stuff." And I'm like, I mean, all of us were freaking out at I think it was the finale or function. It was one of them. And we were trying, and we're like, "You distract him, you get his keys, you get it." We were having the best time. There's a room at Bullwinkle's, in my opinion, theories, that holds something. Yeah.
So here's
Uh,
one. Oh
yeah.
wait. Oh, there you go. The two people asked. So basically, if how is Fenn? If Fenn isn't great with computers, how's he like checking the cameras and stuff?
He had an icon, and whenever they put it, he was so simplistic. I saw the iCam shortcut on his laptop when I was setting up the Thor one for him. That's my story. That's why I know. I was like, "Oh," but if you click on it and the camera's not on, it doesn't show you anything. He knows how to click. He got on the computer, guys. It's not that, but he wasn't super. Hey, USA, were you one of them? Sam, were you one of them when we were trying to get into the room? I don't remember. I know Dark was. I think Dark was. I don't remember who was there. And the more we had to drink, the more we were like, "We're gonna get into that area." it was it was hilarious. So yeah. So okay, what other questions based on this? Here's what I would like ask of you, Mike. Can you bring up that April summary before you go?
What? What is it?
The April summary PowerPoint slide. This is the one that makes me go, "Oh."
Oh, from
So
tonight.
yes.
Okay, got it. Give me a second, Eric. April summary.
Marty, I think there was only one, or I only knew of one.
When you
The
say
manager
April,
was a woman, and you tried
I
to
don't know
pimp
what you
us
mean,
guys
man.
out to get in that. Bobby was there. The manager was a woman, and you tried to pimp us guys out to get in that room. Yes, I do. She was a woman. She was a beautiful woman. You needed to screw
This?
No, all the way at the end. Keep going. Don't go too. Yeah, all the way past that. Don't go too much because then you can't go back. Yes, Bobby. Now I remember you were there.
Right
Okay,
here?
right there.
All
Right
right,
there.
I'll be back.
Leave that up for a second. So let's look at this timeline again, guys. I'm not saying these are all factual things. Jack receives the unedited New Mexico tourism video, not in February, like he said, April 15th. April 19th, the park opens. April 20th, Paco breaks into Fenn's home, violating probation. The 21st, Jack flies into Colorado Springs, meets a person, and heads to West Yellowstone. The Same day, the arrest warrant is issued on Paco, and he's arrested the next day, which is the day that Jack arrives in West Yellowstone. Jack writes the post the next day. The best way in his experience to get a response from Forrest is to provide photos. The next day, he writes an extensive, what do you do if you find the chest on Reddit? And then on the 25th, he arrives in Santa Fe. This one's the one that just makes me shake my head, especially since he has not mentioned this. What do you think, Ben? This is my aha. What happened here?
I'm at this point. I'm right there with you. I mean, again, we've seen the verifiable proof. The time frames match up. There were 3 phases to Jack's posts. The first phase was discussing Saul's, discussing what Fenn could mean about the poem. Lots of that was, you don't know what you're talking about. He means this or he means that. He was getting into people with, like we all did. And then after April 2019, it immediately shifted from little one-liners that he would give to people to paragraphs of, what do I do if I find it? What do you do about taxes? What do you do about this? And all of that comes just in this time period. We have more of this, like, for instance, I guess the finder should go to Puerto Rico. So, like, that's later on in the timeline. But all of this happening in April 2019 happens and was covered up by the definition of the word covered up. He lied to us about the FOIA. He shoved it in our face about the FOIA and about the video itself. And, like, I'm not calling him a criminal, but like any good criminal, they like to come back to the scene of the crime. He's shoving the New Mexico tourism video in our face. And that turns out to be the first lie uncovered. If he's lying about April 2019, why? And then we keep going deeper into this, and we get to the information that we've gotten, and we understand that Jack did not want the public to know about his actions in April 2019.
Right. Which happens to be, we're talking, there's a 3-day time frame that Jack goes boots on the ground, Paco invades Forrest home, Paco's arrested, and Jack immediately heads, after he says, I get the best response when I sent pictures, heads to Santa Fe. All that's within 4 days. 4 days. When you look at it this way, I started building this, and then I went, oh my gosh. And it was the day after that he got that video. I think he was the close searcher, and he could have been nudged. Good. Okay. Do you know?
Right. And what we're not having in here is information of what Jack did immediately after he got the tourism video. We know other things that Jack has.
There's some additional. There is a little bit of a gap there because we don't know if it's personal or not. I did ask Jack. It adds to a conspiracy, but there's some additional data there that we're not going to get into tonight. Must Listen Good says, do you know who his search partner was? Where is he? How is it that he is not claiming to be the finder? How will he get paid? Do we know who he is? Yes. Do we know if, I won't even say search partner because I can't say that he had it. I would think search partner means there's a deal made. Was he just present, sitting in the car? Or was he more than that? I don't know. So I will just say, yes, we know, like, do we know his identity? Yeah. Do we know his background? Do we know his connection to Jack before he had the treasure chest? Yes, we have all of that. And I mean, it would take an act of court to get me to say that. I will not out that, even if the source does.
Right.
I won't confirm that, even if someone else digs in and finds it. Yeah. You just I said it's a man. So Jack flies into Colorado, man, search partner / friend. He's a man. I know Mike said earlier, we're not going to say man or woman. It's a man. So we have narrowed down half of our population. I don't think that narrows it down too much. It was a man. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And yeah.
Where's proof on Puerto Rico? If no, why? We have proof on Puerto Rico behind the scenes.
Right. Which that's
Jack himself posted.
Bring that up, Mike, for a second. That what you just took down. Go to the next slide. This is an example, and the reason I think you guys are wanting to start, like, okay, how do you know? We could show the license plate and then show the person's,
Right, but that
tag, and that reveals people. And the reason that we won't reveal people is because of some of the people in this community. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be. I'm taking my own due care, and Ben's taking his own due care, and Mike's taking his own due care. This is an example, but would we need to show you the document that I have that says what this is or that is? No. So that's the leap of faith you guys have to take. But we in good faith wanted to show one just to show you an example. We're not showing this to say, go hunt down this car. I know after the fairy tales, you guys hunt stuff down. We don't want that. We want to show you enough to say it's legitimate, but we're not going to show you enough to say, now you can go hunt down this person. That's not what this is about.
Right.
This is to get the true story. This isn't to hunt down and out individuals, which we know people will go to children and find them and record them and ask them about, relatives and things. We're not going to allow that. I'm not going to be a part of that. This is enough that I think it shows there's credibility, but not enough that you can hunt down human beings.
And from these sources, we know about his sudden move and change of location to Puerto Rico. So, yeah, no, can we prove Puerto Rico? Someone in the chat said, someone on Thor posted public information. Yeah, that public information is out there, sure. But we know beyond that. We know for a fact. Part of this is for Jack to really wake up here and see that we know what we're talking about.
Right. And that's why I said we know about Colorado Springs. We know about, I gave him a few of the other particulars that we didn't share because we're still trying to piece some things together. I said, if you don't want me to share, if it's not search related, I don't know how it could be because we knew so much. If it's not search related, tell us. And I'm going to respect Jack to say it is personal. But at this point, he didn't. So it's, yeah.
I don't know how he could reply to this. That's the thing. There's no way he could respond to this if you really think about it. Especially with what we know and what he may know that we know. Like, it's just, I don't know how he can reply aside from outright lying or just confessing.
Yeah. Well, and Milan says, without really revealing partner identity, can you reveal any possible connections to Fenn family, government connections? I can tell you I have not personally gone down that road yet. This has taken so much to get here. It's going to take longer to, could I or will source people provide that? They can. I have to tell you, and I need to give credit to a lot of other people. I go down my conspiracy theories. I don't do a lot of the database work on Reddit. I didn't do that. I just grabbed and put it in a PowerPoint. A lot of this is coming from other people that are a lot smarter than me. I need to go take computer class because I'm not great on the computer. I just try to put stuff together. So. Can you explain how he found it in April with at least a foot of snow? Stuck in Chaselandia? I don't know if he did. That is just conjecture, that piece. But Mike's answer would be, if you have GPS, it's not a problem.
That sounded like Seinfeld.
Or hypothetical, if you've been given a picture of what the blaze is.
Yep.
If the blaze hypothetically is on a tree, the tree is not covered by snow.
He says he figured out what the blaze was from a hint in the thrill of the chase, so maybe he went back like, I know what I'm looking for now. And
okay, let me play.
So dug it up.
Let me play conspiracy theory, because Forrest, once you told him where you were in your general area, he knew you were close. He asked you to come to Santa Fe. He provided you the exact GPS and the blaze, and so you were able to go back up and find it exactly.
And then maybe you couldn't find it right away, and after being told by the man himself and still not finding it, maybe you sit on a log and cry a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you can't find the thing that's now been given right to you. And maybe the great excuse, and it could be actually factual, is, oh, but that blaze was damaged. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay.
Well, and Randy says horseshoe nailed to tree. We know you look quickly down. So I am thinking the quickly down. What if it was a horseshoe 15 feet up? There's not 15 feet of snow. I don't know. I didn't search at that time. I
Right.
always
That's
search
what I'm
when
saying.
it was
There's
nice.
not 4 feet of snow. If the blaze is an eyesight at a tree, it's not going to be covered up.
Right. Right. So yeah, April seems a little early to me. I didn't know the park was open. You guys I found that myself though.
And a foot of snow is relative. We're talking 2019. Like, can you really show me that there was a foot of snow all over Yellowstone in April 20th of 2019? Like, maybe there was snow 10 days prior in April 5th, and it melted off because it was a 58-degree day. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Trey, what did Trey just ask? Did he? Yes, he did go back. He did go back twice. And if he went back twice,
I can tell you there's no snow in our picture.
You know my theory. If I find the treasure chest, I'm going to leave it for a year. I'm going back to check on it. I'm going back in a couple months to make sure it's still there. You know.
That's actually huge, Ben.
Yeah.
So
I was wondering if people noticed, but maybe they didn't.
We have cropped that picture maybe so you can't see. There is not snow.
Oh, gotcha.
Visible in that area, around that car.
Location where it was parked.
But Mike says he's going to go check on it. Why? Because that's my question. If he knew the location in April, why did he go once more in the summer and once more in October? Why did he go 2 more times? And the answer would be to check on it. Mike's like, I'd check on it, make sure it's still there.
I'd be going crazy, but yeah.
You have a little friend there, Mike.
Yeah, I would check on it, I think.
Sneaky head.
Yeah, I don't know. Those are the pieces that's where I say this is I had so many questions of, is this going to give us all the answers tonight? No. This is going to give us a lot. There's more questions. There's some answers. There's nothing definitive. So there are some people that I know that have been sources to me. I haven't even updated one of my main sources. I'm going to update one of my main sources and say, watch the show. Can you confirm some of this? Because I know he's close with Jack, and I don't know if he wants to confirm certain things. I don't want to put him in an awkward spot. So, snow is not an issue in mid-April. Okay. Oh. Yeah, there's Cowlazars. So, okay. Have you introduced any of this to Forrest or Jack's attorneys? Lawyers always make comments, but you may not give you details. Brian, no, I have not. So, I don't know if it's right for me to contact, because that's billable to that. I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
What's next? Is there more info? Well, I think we hope so.
Always. Yeah. There's something always on that next horizon. I will say, when Chasing Indy brought to me earlier today, where my mind was only on this, she was talking about this ForrestFennTreasure.com. That might be the next rabbit hole, but it needs to be verifiable. It can't just be, I'm connecting some dots that kind of make sense.
Lori, we can't say if Jack damaged the blaze because we don't know. We can theorize, we can guess, but we just don't know if he did it.
That'd be the only way I leave the test alone.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, you're not just going to leave it and be like, I hope nobody else figures it out. Jack figured it out, and to wait an entire year, not just overnight, an entire year, which is the theory. Yeah.
Trey asked, did Jack move to Puerto Rico prior to June 2019? Not in the information I have.
No.
Been given.
So
we know when, but we don't want to.
Yeah, it was after April and before he retrieved. So that 1 year, that would play. If you took Condor's advice and you found something in April and you knew you were going to be having it in June, you want to move as soon as possible.
So this A. Beeler says, what do you make of the Condor 2's post from April 2019 going forward that still concerns solving the poem? And I don't know how many of those there are, but
okay. So when I went
trust any of it.
Well, you don't trust any of it because all of a sudden he goes, it's not the Madison, where he's been saying the Madison for years. So it's there is, I have a separate, and I just put it in a separate PowerPoint. All of the ones as I was snipping that really stood out that he was talking about is solve. So that is maybe next week. I don't know what'll be next week. I think so much happens after these shows. I needed to sit a bit and find out, but that could be a show just on location. And Anyone can contact a lawyer's office for comments. Surprised we haven't heard anything about them in any media story. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, yeah, we just don't know. Maybe, just maybe, Jack will come out, do another Medium post, do an article. Maybe Jack will post on Reddit. Maybe he'll actually come out and post on Reddit.
Jack,
Answer some of these questions, Jack.
Maybe it would be awkward, but I think if you understood how dedicated you were, which I think you were as a searcher, you understand why maybe we don't want to let this go. Come on the show. You talked with Ben a lot or went back and forth with Ben a lot. You and I didn't have as much interaction, but I've offered you once before and I've never asked before, but you don't have to answer certain things. But we are going to ask the hard questions that we're discovering. It's almost like it's too late, but it's never too late. We can always start again. Okay, so they stopped at Hell's Half Acre on the way back to Santa Fe. What was the second NP they stopped into?
National Park. Yeah.
I would say there's assumptions there that maybe aren't exactly, you're thinking it in the chronology that, in the chronological order that it was. So I would just say there is a Hell's Half Acre in there. And it's so funny that Indy said that. Anyway. I mean, we died. We were just laughing because it was just pick a spot, Hell's Half Acre, and it was like, what? How did she? Yeah. So that was okay. Any other last minute questions? If you asked them before and didn't get them answered, put at KPro, at Ben, at Cowlazars this one last time. We missed a lot of them just because the chat room was a rockin'. I think we were almost 400 tonight. So yeah. Randy, I'm so excited whatever's happening in Beacon Star. I don't know what it is, but it's very exciting. Mike talks about it in his sleep. Yeah.
Well, I just got to say, I haven't even watched Randy's video yet. I haven't responded to a bunch of emails over the last couple of days because we were on vacation. So I'll go through my emails. But if you ordered a Chaseopoly, and a few of you did, those are in the mail as of today. So thank you for ordering those. And if anybody else is interested in Chaseopoly, the thrill of the Chase board game, we still have some for sale. Just email me. Yeah. So thanks, Ben, for coming on.
Okay. Hold on. There's a couple at K-Pros, at least I see. More. Okay. No rake is better. No, not if you listen to Daniel. Was the picture of the car taken in Wyoming or at Bullwinkle's? I won't say either. We just said in the West Yellowstone area. That is all we said. How do you know they drove straight to Santa Fe without stopping elsewhere? The evidence says they did not. Is that fair,
Correct.
Ben?
Rimsbrock says, K-Pro, did you ever contact Douglas Preston for some questions?
Way back, I did. I like right after it was retrieved, and we exchanged some emails. But I haven't been in contact with. I have not tried contacting Douglas in this year definitely. I don't. Maybe 8 months. A long time. How many searchers died after Jack found the treasure, if he found the treasure in April of 2019, in theory? One. Mike Sexton, and 2 days later, Forrest issued a scrapbook about how dangerous searching is and how Willie's retarded. Within a day
That's when Willie's retarded came out.
Yes.
So let's mention that. Why would Fenn be frustrated with Jack to bring up the retarded comment so that only Jack would know that Forrest is talking to him in the scrapbook? So he just died.
And the scrapbook was about safety, and it actually has a picture of like snow and all of that. And it was within, I think, Mike, bring up the summary slides again. Do you have that up?
Yeah, hang on. Silver Fox, make sure you email me so I can give you the info to Hillary for the gift card. What am I bringing up? The PowerPoint?
The same, yeah, go to that April one. It's actually 2 after that. At the end, stage 3 or step 3 of our PowerPoint presentation tonight.
Okay, give me a second. Boom. Did get a super chat. Indiana Jones. Ben, you talked about the name Bill and William. My name is Billy, William, Willie. Forrest ended the hunt 5 days after I spoke to him on the phone. You guys heard it straight from Indiana Jones. Thank you for that super chat. Now, Hatchet Jack says, K-Pro, do you think F would let the chase go on like normal if he knew someone had located it? But the thing is, he didn't take it.
He didn't take it. Okay, go 2 more. Go 2 more. Not that one. Go.
I think it put Forrest in a dilemma, but if somebody doesn't actually retrieve
one
it,
more.
it's still there for people to find. Go ahead.
Right.
One more slide, please. One more slide. Sorry. Okay. March 21st, 2 searchers stranded. Sexton found deceased. March 23rd, retarded comment in the scrapbook from Forrest. Within 48 hours of a searcher dying, Forrest puts out a scrapbook saying Willie's retarded, and it's all about safety.
Yeah, it's a message to Jack saying you got to get it. You can't. Yeah, I get that. I would like to actually read the scrapbook to see the context, but Fenn definitely talked to people through his scrapbooks. That's been proven. I didn't believe it before the chase ended, but it actually was going on. Right, the toe to toe. I mean, what's that all about? Yeah, right.
Trusted Living says, don't feel bad. Forrest called K-Pro stupid more than once. That is true. And he called me like silly PhD. Like, oh.
I didn't know a PhD needed a crutch. Oh,
exactly.
Thumbs up for reminding K-Pro of that comment.
I got some in my eye.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. But
there's
a difference between calling someone stupid, silly, dumb, and retarded. I think the word retarded has such a impactful meaning in our society that you wouldn't say it. And especially, and I remember Shiloh saying it, but maybe I'm wrong, both generations saying it would even be more impactful. I'm going to have to go back through that whole chat now.
Find me one time where Forrest even is quoted cursing.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. How has it been proven that Forrest was talking to people through scrapbooks? It has not. In my opinion, there is data to say, oh, wait, he did say the one scrapbook. He said, Christy, a polite like email I got, and he spelled my name right.
Yeah, but the GPS solve. So this source sends Forrest their solve, but they were using the number, the 8, AT in water. They had the number 8 in their solution. I believe it was the next day, but it could have been a couple days later. Forrest released the scrapbook that says Willie ate some mushrooms and got sick. He didn't know the rules, meaning don't use the 8. I mean, to me, that's a theory, but it makes it sound like
it's me. Lucky Digger says retarded is a medical term. If we were at a medical conference and I was watching a medical presentation, I'd be right along with you. Right. I do not believe this scrapbook's target audience was someone that would know the medical difference between the word retarded and saying disabled or a joker or whatever.
Sorry, Hatchet Jack. If I missed it, then I apologize.
Uh-oh.
Put it in the chat right now. Don't super chat. Just put it in the chat.
Just put it in the chat.
Yeah. And Indy, you didn't have to super chat again. I just meant put it in the chat again. So a lot of guys, the chat was rocking. We had 400 people in here. So if I missed any of your super chats or just any posts, I apologize. I had Eric. I had some interruptions going on as well.
Yeah, he also refers to timer or clock face degrees. Yeah, there's a lot saying. Well, when Chaos and Embroidery came out, everybody thought it was about them. And I think it ends up being about Jack and Forrest. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. Do I have any proof? Nope, not at all. None. It's just a funny little bit. But the word, I think it's odd that Jack lost a career, in my opinion, over one word that Forrest includes. And the word is not it. It's a, yeah. There you
go. Randy. Good luck in Denver, Randy. Make some videos. We'll be looking forward to it.
Wait, did Hatchet Jack put it back in? Cowlazars. Okay.
He did not. Yeah, not yet.
Come on. Okay. Here it is. My super chat. Oh,
there
okay.
it is.
Just expressing the appreciation for the show.
Oh, I thought I could read it, Hatchet Jack, but thank you. We appreciate it. Everybody out there, we hope you enjoy the show. I know K-Pros and Ben, you've been doing so much research and put so much time into this thing. I'm here. I'm invested. I just don't put the time into it like K-Pro does. That's all. I want to know the solution and I want to know the location. I'm not so interested in the story. Although if Jack found it and waited a year, that just blows my mind. But
here's what I do. I say to Mike, "Hey, Mike, if we have this date on April 19th, why did he go 2 more times?" And you're like, maybe he's
devil's advocate.
And I say, but have you thought of this and this and this and that? And you're like, oh, yeah. And then you start playing your video game. And then I go, but wait, did you also? And I can see you floating away from me. When I do that to Ben, Ben goes, oh my gosh, I didn't think about this. And then Ashley comes back behind and she'll go, ooh, oh wait, what about? And then we start get going, and then actually Ben does something really good. He goes, wait, let's hit pause, let's think about this. With all the other data, does this make sense? And sometimes we're like down there, and then he goes, and then we start over. Because we're trying to let the data lead us. We're trying to let the data lead us. But I interrupted you.
Wasn't in Yellowstone.
I know Zarth said. I was so
and I will say again, and maybe that we didn't emphasize this part enough. Maybe we shouldn't. But what we have learned does tell me anyway. The chest was somewhere near the border of West Yellowstone. That's the information that gets reiterated to me. I think we at the very least know that Jack was very interested at starting his search and ending his search day at West Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm. And the Madison runs right through the border. I mean, it kind of ties in, but I
mean, if you're searching near Jackson's Hole, you're not starting and stopping at West Yellowstone all the time. That's just my opinion.
See, and I'm not going to go that far yet until I really dig into the solve pieces. And I know that Lucky Digger says,
right, and we haven't
really
we have been trying to get that, and we have been trying to get that out of our sources either. And I think that's also why we were able to get what we've gotten. This wasn't about trying to find the elusive solve, but this kind of in a weird way helps us. I think it does. I know that Mike really doesn't like to boggle his mind down with this kind of stuff because it's not relevant to a solve on the surface, sure, but this might actually help us get to it.
Yeah, that's
so Lucky Digger says, so all this really amounts to you guys have more secrets. No, we have more leads and opportunities to go down to get it to the state that when it's presented, everyone does it is either doesn't become BS, doesn't become a failed source, isn't accurate because we didn't do some basic research. I'm getting told every which way. Right now, I have 2 other people that have come to me. I haven't had a chance to read all of their stuff. And I think there's something to what the reason I reached out to them was because of something they said. I only have so many hours in the day, and I'm not putting it out early. GPS went out too early. I think if we, mean Mike and I, or me, was a little bit more mindful, don't put it out too soon. If you consider that a secret, it's not out yet, but go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say on GPS, but you found it. But anyway, Kerry Galloway with a good point. Amazing if he found it in 2019. So crazy. No wonder FF wanted to end it. I bet FF wanted to end it and pull it so Jack didn't even get it. There's a theory number 3 that I don't think we talked about. When Forrest emailed Dale and said, hey, I'm thinking of ending it, could Forrest have sent Shiloh to retrieve it? Been like, sorry, Jack, you had a chance to take it and you didn't. I'm going to end it because you won't.
I bet you in March, if there was something in April 19, if he gave him the nudge or whatever, I think by March he's going toe to toe. I'm toe to toe with you. You either end it or I'm ending.
Forrest is the toe to toe. Forrest and Jack. There's an idea I don't think has ever been thought of before. That's interesting.
Maybe that's why they have separate attorneys.
Good comment.
And attorneys started battling. I don't know.
I don't know.
Marty asked me the question. Marty asked a question. Why would Jack post his Puerto Rico plan if he really thought he'd have to use it? I would follow that question up with a question. Why would he delete it if he didn't use it?
Yeah, which he did, right? Which he did. Yeah, and that's the other thing. All these were deleted by Jack, right? Do you really think that Jack just didn't realize people would put it together that the Condor was him? And that's why he didn't delete him right away.
Right. I think the intent of his lies show he was hoping no one was ever going to connect these dots.
Crazy.
The soundboard is one of the main reasons I'm watching. We have not heard it too many minutes. Please serve yourself. No, Rich Rock.
Here's a question. Where to go? Is Hell's Half Acre a national park? Hell's Half Acre is inside Yellowstone National Park.
No, I think it's no.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, we've mapped it. Yeah. I think it is.
It's on the road from Shoshone to Casper.
Right, but I think it's actually personally owned. I think it's privately owned.
You can't go onto it anymore. They fenced it off.
Big fence. So why is he going out there? It's fenced.
You can get around the fence if you know what you're doing. But from what I understand, everything in Hell's Half Acre is just riddled with rattlesnakes.
Yeah, but I have heard it's fenced off and all of that. So yes, Ben has done so good tonight. Of course he gets a Chaseopoly, even though, and he can play it while the kids are playing
Send me the
Chaseopoly
address,
while
Ben.
he's
I will
doing
get one in the
laundry.
mail to you.
Yeah.
Email me the address.
No, we'll personally pick it up from you guys whenever we meet for drinks. How about
Oh yeah,
that?
World Series of Fenn, if not the World
Yeah.
Series of Poker, one of those two
Yeah.
for sure. But
One
speaking
of
of World
those two.
Series of Fenn, for all the super chats, I will play this. We haven't heard this one in quite a while.
Oh dear Lord, please don't.
Our forecast calls for flurries of passion, followed by extended periods of getting it on.
All right, everybody. Who doesn't want an excuse to come to Vegas? World Series of Fenn, February 2022. Maybe Jack will just show up.
13 in your mind. 13 in your mind.
Getting it on. All right, everybody. That's been 3 hours. We haven't done a 3-hour show in quite a while, okay, bro. And thanks, Ben. You
Sure.
made the show, so thanks for coming on. Treasure Warriors on
Thank you guys for
YouTube,
having me.
everybody. Yeah,
I will say I think it's just the beginning. We're not at the end. We're at a new beginning. It's time for everybody to reevaluate. And
right.
I think now we broke the dam. Let's see what the results are.
And Rimsbrock's got a good comment. It's also interesting to see which comments Jack did not delete compared to the ones he did delete. So that's maybe we do a show on the ones he hasn't deleted. That's interesting.
And the ones that are solve related, and there is so much in that database. That database could give us content for the next 6 months.
Honestly, the most of what he deleted wasn't even solve related. Most of what he deleted was this stuff.
The
Yes.
theory of after you find it, what do you do? That type stuff.
Yeah, so Jim asked, what was the point of going to Hell's Half Acre? Sightseeing. Great question. Great question. Maybe that's I don't know. Great question. Great question.
More to be learned.
So this is what I found from before. When you put out a lot of information, which I think we did tonight, there is going to be pockets and tangents of new information that comes off of this.
Right.
That I think will be really interesting, that we can't even anticipate, that will be random. That'll be hopefully somebody has a picture on the side corner of them doing a selfie at Bullwinkle's and Jack's right behind him and there's the picture of Jack. Send those to us.
And if you guys have some information, isn't that what you just said, K-Pro? Send it on. Send it to Ben. Send it to K-Pro. Send it to me. And if it's verifiable in some way, if we can, what we really want is independent verification with two different people. But send it on. You never know. We'll at least look at it and then make a decision on if you're crazy or not. No, if it's something we think is worth reporting on or not. Okay. Is there any news? Davi B says, "Hey, watch the last 3 hours, Davi. You decide that for yourself." Thanks everybody for the super chats.
You can click ahead. So
Make sure you subscribe because you never know when we're just going to go live, with Ben, with Ashley, with whoever, and just talk about this for hours and hours. Me and Christy start doing a thing called Kitchen Table Conversations. You never know when we're just going to upload that video. So subscribe. We got 85 thumbs up. Thanks, everybody. And for the 43 people who thumbs down, that's okay. You just don't like the conspiracy theory bridge. That's all. That's okay.
And A.B. Heller 629. Ben is searcher 2342. He's only been banned. He's not banned anymore. That's all you need to know.
Wait, is that true? Is that true? Is that his name on Thor? Or are you making that up?
No, that's me.
Well, that's
Searcher
breaking
24.
news right there. So Jack was on Thor and he had a handle. What?
No. Ben.
No, mine.
Oh, I thought you meant Jack. That's why I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, of course Ben's on Thor. There you go. But he has been banned. You actually banned Ben in the past?
He admits he deserved and he deserved it. I'm sure. I only remember the one because he really had.
I only deserved that last one. The rest of them you were wrong on.
But he always made it. I mean, he didn't get banned. He got timed out to reflect on some things happening on the site. Everybody's been prickly at times. I don't take it too seriously. Everybody but a few make their way back. And he actually got brought back from early, get out of prison early because you're good. He was so great. He got out of prison early. So there you go.
Did. You let me out early.
And now the next time you get a timeout, you can reflect while you're doing laundry. So we'll be looking for that video, Ben.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So
videos where it didn't happen.
I've lost my anger.
That's funny.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We do appreciate it. We will Thursday, Beacon Star Thursdays. Hopefully, maybe Randy will give us a little video from Denver by Thursday. We're Monday nights, Forrest Fenn Treasure Found. When we get new info and we feel it's legit, we will pass it on to the community. You guys make your own decision. And Jack, we're here. If you want to set the record straight, we're here. Ben's here. K-Pro's here.
I travel to Puerto Rico anytime.
All right.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Yeah,
Let's go to Puerto Rico.
Ben and I, this is an open invitation that Ben and I'm just going to speak for you. We will travel to Puerto Rico and meet you.
I'll give you a Chaseopoly, Jack. I know you want a Chaseopoly.
I'll bring a coin. I'll bring a coin, Jack.
All right. Okay, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you have a good week.
Peace
Good night,
out.
guys.
Bye.